This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol live. It's a freaking Monday. Sorry if you were with me earlier and we were listening to my Pride Month playlist. I was wanting to just skip the whole countdown and go up to the intro, and I'm like, shit, it's Pride Month. I want to listen to the Pride Month countdown one last time. But who knows? I might do it tomorrow. Pride doesn't have to just keep itself in June. Unlike Christmas, which needs to keep its ass in December. Fucking tired of Christmas encroaching on all the other good holidays in the fall. There's Halloween. There's Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's awesome. Just got food. And you can learn about history. And we can make atonement to the natives and shit. But you guys, you wanted to forget Thanksgiving and just move on to Christmas, and I don't like it. It's going to be Christmas before you know it, and I don't like that either. Welcome to the Troll Patrol. Not high enough for this shit. We have a plea deal in the Brian Kohlberger case in Idaho. The 3 girls at the Idaho College and the young man that was at their apartment apparently slaughtered by this Brian Kohlberger guy. We're going to get the deets on that. Socialist Don, good evening. This is one of those stories we've been following almost since the start of the Troll Patrol. I want to say it was in 2021 when the murder happened. 2022 when they arrested the guy. We watched all the body cam video and everything. Apparently the first day of deliberations in the Diddy trial. Not going well. 7 Heavy Steel, welcome in. My Final Fantasy brethren, that's it. I've been on a Final Fantasy kick. I bought 6 for myself. For my birthday, I was already playing 16. So I've been going back and forth between the two of them. I got Chrono Cross, if you're an old school RPG. I bought it back in like December. And I downloaded it, put it on my PlayStation. I ain't fucking started it yet. I've never played it before. Really looking forward to it, though. But my friend, good evening. Samson, welcome. The feds came to the door. They wanted to ask me about Joni Ernst. She did something. I don't even remember what it was now. I think I got a Joni clip to play. I'm going to be freeballing it kind of tonight. I didn't really put together a show for you, so it may not have that crisp Troll Patrol feel to it. But we've also got live shit we're going to be covering. Oh, yeah. 6 is probably my favorite, and I didn't have the Pixel Remaster. I didn't have it where I could play it on the PlayStation. That's why I bought it for myself for my birthday. I was just going to get the whole Pixel Remaster together, but I was like, fuck it. It's on sale right now. I want to play 6. I'm doing it. T-, welcome. The sheriff that shot that judge last year, we're going to be getting the next, I want to say it's like July is the next court appearance. And that might be a pretrial conference, so that's where we're going to get some actual details. Welcome. T-, Princess Kimberly, Samson. Everybody I didn't say hey to earlier. I'm so sorry. So sorry I got cut off. Tier 2, welcome in. Socialist Aunt. I love that I got cut off and you guys stayed in the chat and made jokes about it. That cracked me the fuck up. Thank you for that. I'm like, how far back did I get cut off? You guys were making jokes for so long. Here is your meme of the day. Oh my God, his first word. Death to the IDF. From weed. He might have got that shirt from weed. I mean, okay. First, like, you guys don't know what Warlord said in my chat. Send it my way. Oh, are you wanting, like, okay, here's the thing, is I'm starting to wonder, like, I'm probably giving my address out to too many of you. I need to start worrying about that a little bit more. A little too trusting of you guys in the chat. Be like, I want to send you something. I probably... I mean, curiouser. It says, I'm way too trusting of people. I just gave Warlord the entire, like, keys to my channel. You guys know, like, I don't even know that Warlord likes me. Oh, fuck. I mean, send me a DM. I say that, but Warlord has been a huge supporter. I think to this day, subscribed to my Patreon, one of the few people on my Patreon. I'm not trying to shame you guys. I have it. I don't ever promote it or anything. I'm not putting other shit on there. It's just Warlord, like, supports me, I guess. So, like, Warlord's one of the, like, only people that's on my Patreon and, like, gives me that $4 every month. Has been a subscriber for, like, me being banned broke the streak. And then I think at some point in time I banned him just as a funny. So it broke his streak. It broke his streak again. So I have no clue where he'd be. He'd probably be subscribed for like the whole 5 years almost. He's been a ride or die. He's been with me since, like, I think I found him in like comments from a video in September or October of 2020. Cicero, it's just a trick to gain my confidence. Warlord has JustinFREAKIN merch. Ducky, welcome in. All the cool people are here. Let's smoke some pot. Requested something specific one time. Requested a specific sticker. I made it for him and he ordered it right away. That's how cool Warlord is. But it was hilarious. Avalon, I think, got mod powers after I got unbanned, and Warlord hadn't been around very much. Because for those of you who don't know, Warlord is British. So, you know, it's late there right now. He usually pops in and out, you know, sometimes. It'll be early in the show. But he was in here one night and just doing his trick. He got real Trumpy around the election. And Avalon, like, went to ban Warlord from the chat and found out he was a mod. Well, Cicero, Warlord is not a liberal. Warlord is I know this to be a fact. He sent me the paperwork. I've seen it. He is a registered conservative. He voted for the Conservative Party in the last election. He's a Tory. Card carrying Tory. I've seen his card. So just, yeah, wild. Why? And you may ask, why does he follow this channel? It's like, Warlord's just kind of into chaos and debauchery. So, like, you can see why he would enjoy this channel. And why I would make him a mod. Oh, fuck. Let's go over. I think we're in the roll call section right now. Let me get the rundown on what exactly this is. This is the vote on the Senate floor. This is the big beautiful
Mr.
bill.
Across the country, Americans of every political stripe are urging us to come together to help bring down painfully high costs. Instead, the president is making.
I think debate is over. I don't know what she's doing right now.
Budget bill, and with his decision to launch.
But I'm not. They might be proposing amendments, and then they have debate on the amendments. Let me get the rundown of exactly what's going on, like from Axios or some
for
shit.
Firefighters, truck drivers, and teachers by $500, all so that the wealthiest 0.1%, making over $4 million, get a $350,000 windfall. At a time when the American people need their costs to come down, I can think of few ideas as willfully self-destructive as launching a trade war with one of our closest allies and, in effect...
Yeah, that's what we'd be doing. We're debating amendments right now.
...and small businesses. I urge my colleagues to listen to the great majority of Americans who need their costs to come down.
Late Monday afternoon, the Senate had bogged down in a lumbering pace,
Mr. President,
trying to process dozens of amendment votes needed before GOP leaders moved to a final vote on President Trump's signature policy proposal. Having started votes just past 9:30 a.m., senators had completed only 14 roll call votes in about 7 hours,
Mr. President,
with little sign of urgency from Republicans to get things moving.
More importantly, none of the president's
GOP aides privately suggested that the
prior reconciliation bill
dirge-like approach signaled that Senate Majority Leader John Thune was still negotiating behind the scenes with potential Republican holdouts who could make or break the chances of passing the bill that cuts taxes, imposes massive cuts to health and food programs for the poor, and increases border security funding. Those proposals need consideration from the parliamentarian to determine whether they comport with Senate rules, along with estimates of their budget impact. It has left the Senate in a slow-motion walk through the amendments, none of which have passed, that have real consequences for the overall legislation. In recent years, Mark Wayne Mullen apparently presiding over the Senate.
Mr. Barrasso.
In recent years, these marathon sessions, known as votoramas, have tended to include dozens of amendments and sometimes go or have more than 40. At the current pace, the Senate would not reach a final vote until 5:30 a.m. At this pace, the Senate would not reach a final vote until 5:30 a.m. That catches you up on what is going on with the Senate currently. This is the kind of the biggest thing in politics at the moment, since we seemingly have a ceasefire in Iran. Trump talking about a ceasefire in Gaza, but Palestinian officials saying, what? Israel shows no sign of stopping. Ducky making reference to Fetterman's comments earlier today. I have them here for you. John Fetterman asked about this vote on Trump's big, beautiful bill and the slowing down, because that's what the Democrats are doing. They're slowing down the process. And if you guys aren't aware, if perhaps you're not American, it is a holiday this week. The kiddos want to get out of town for what day is the 4th? Is it Friday? The 4th is Friday, so it's a long weekend for them. Huge weekend.
Did you get any clues on the floor about what time this might wrap?
Oh my God! I just want to go home. I've already I've missed our entire trip to the beach. My family's going to be back before we that. So and again, I'm going to vote no. There's no drama. The votes are going to go. In fact, the only interesting votes are going to be on the margin, whether that's Collins or Johnson and those. But all the Democrats, we all know how that's going to go. And I don't think it's really helpful to put people here till some ungodly hour. And again,
thank you, sir.
Appreciate your time. Did you get any?
Yeah, Fetterman wants to go to the beach. He doesn't want to be here until 5:30 in the morning. Fuzzy Simba, welcome. If you are just joining us, that is the pace that they're going at currently.
Blackburn, Mr. Bloom.
We are looking at a final vote on
Booker, Mr. Bozeman,
the big beautiful bill package come
Britt.
5:30 a.m.
Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell,
Give or take a little bit.
Capito, Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons,
Mr. Coons.
Ms. Cortez Masto, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer. Oh my God.
Senator Duckworth
Mr.
giving her
Prado.
thumbs up.
Did you get to us? Mr. Cruz,
Old Teddy Boy Cruz. Ducky, I was totally expecting him to say that. I hadn't seen that clip yet.
Mr. Daines,
He's like, I'm gonna vote no. There's no consternation on what's gonna happen. I was almost expecting him.
Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher.
I was almost expecting them him to say
Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand,
that he was gonna vote yes to get out of town.
Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper,
Mr. Higginlooper.
Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane,
I was just gonna say Mr. Justin. I was gonna be like, yes.
Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy,
Mr. Kennedy. Oh my fucking God. Israel killed another 22 people
him,
that were seeking aid, that were
Ms. Klobuchar,
corralled like animals. That fuck.
Lee, Mr. Lujan,
Flash, welcome in. Welcome in. This is the Votorama on amendments.
Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall,
Reporters are suggesting that
Mr. McCormick,
Thune might not have the votes and is still
Mr.
wheeling
Merkley.
and dealing because the Republicans are
Moody.
showing no sign of trying to speed this process up. At the pace they're going, we're set for a final vote on
Moran.
the big beautiful bill come 5:30 a.m.
Reno, Mr. Mullen,
You're looking at an all-night session of the Senate. On the BBW, if you so choose. I like BBWs, so
Mr. Murphy,
Mr.
Mrs.
Mullins.
Murray,
DJ Dub, CB, welcome in, friends. Light one up, tip one back.
Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla,
You want any predictions for me? My prediction. Other than pain?
Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed,
I can't wait till the day when they call Mr. Paul and it's like, you know, Jake Paul.
Mr. Risch. Thank you.
Man's got Senate written all over him.
Ms. Rosen, Mr. Round, Mr. Sanders,
You guys know I'm right.
Mr. Schiff,
You heard him call Mr. Sanders. That is one Mr. Bernie Sanders. I kind of believe that he's running for president. I know a lot of people scoff at that idea. Hasn't ruled it out, and he's making all the moves of a man that would run for president. So I don't know what to tell you. I'm open. Like, I want a younger set of Democrats. I just don't think we have a deep enough bench. I think AOC needs to go to the Senate. We need her in the Senate. Should she be the nominee, I absolutely will support her. She's amazing. Senator Bernie Sanders on the big, beautiful bill.
Right now, the Senate is debating over Trump's big, beautiful bill as Senate Republicans push to pass it ahead of their July 4th deadline. Late this afternoon, Senate clerks wrapped up a nearly 16-hour-long marathon reading of the 900.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, this is perfect for this. This is perfect. This is big, beautiful bill. Fucking shit. Hold on. I'll come back to it.
40-page bill laying out what senators will be voting for and the stakes for Americans nationwide. Last night, the bill passed a key procedural hurdle to begin debate, with all Democrats voting no, along with two Republican holdouts, Senators Tom Tillis and Rand Paul. This comes as the Congressional Budget Office reported that the GOP megabill will increase the national debt by $3.3 trillion over the next decade. It also found that revenues would fall by about $4.5 trillion and spending could be cut by $1.2 trillion over a decade relative to current law. As of now, the bill looks in part likely to extend Trump's 2017 tax cuts, proposes $1 trillion, actually more than $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid, and $186 billion in cuts to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, otherwise known as food stamps, which provides benefits to low-income families. So far, the bill is getting no support across the aisle. No surprise. Senator Bernie Sanders called it, quote, probably the worst piece of legislation in modern history, unquote.
Seriously, right in front of Rihanna and her fish. Hold on, I gotta fix it up. You make you the right size. There we go. Warlord, welcome in. Somebody else snuck in here. Sports cards. You gonna do that really right in front of Rihanna and her fish? Bagheera, welcome in. Now, Bagheera, I couldn't find evidence that you were actually banned. It looked like somebody timed you out, possibly, and it just ran out. But I'm telling everybody right now, Bagheera, mods, if you're listening, Bagheera's cool. Unless he just goes completely over the line, starts throwing out slurs. I don't think he will. Bagheera doesn't get timed out. Bagheera doesn't get banned. Bagheera got freaking seal of approval. We need to not be so heavy on the ban button. DJ Dub has Bagheera blocked. Maddie B, welcome in. It's the Troll Patrol. We cannot ban people for coming in here and trolling. As long as they don't throw any slurs down or anything that's going to get me banned, then they get to stay. Don't do that in front of Riri and her fish.
Who y'all think y'all frontin' on?
And Senator Bernie Sanders joins us now. Senator, thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening to talk with us. I want to ask you, first of all, about the fighting with the ref that Republicans have been doing. They have been trying to discredit these new estimates that we've gotten from the Congressional Budget Office. As I understand it, they have been hiding from the Senate parliamentarian who is sort of tasked with assessing how much this bill costs and whether it could be, whether it can be passed through this party line vote that Republicans are seeking.
Bagheera, like everyone else, likes some titties, so can't hold that against him.
A titty slap!
Come on now.
Rightos, welcome in.
What does that tell you about how proud Republicans are of the bill that they are trying to jam through?
Well, on top of that, as I understand it, Trump just told them ignore what the parliamentarian said. So what you were talking about, among many, many other things, in terms of this absolutely horrific piece of legislation, is Republicans right now,
good evening,
the filibuster, which historically has given the minority some power in legislative debate. But what we are looking at right now, and I want everybody to know it, is maybe the largest transfer of
remember, it is Live Music Monday. We're going to be doing
and working people to
Glastonbury. That happened over the weekend. We're going to be watching the best of Glastonbury.
We're talking about $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1%, and in the midst of all of that, there's over $200 billion going to the top 0.2% families that inherit more than $30 million. So it's not just a gift to the 1%. I have to admit they paid for it. You know, when you have a corrupt campaign finance system and these guys spend hundreds of millions of dollars electing Trump, they're getting back what they paid. But it is really quite disgusting that you give tax breaks to people who don't need it. You throw 16 million people off the health care that they have. You cut nutrition programs for hungry kids. You make it harder for working class young people to afford to go to college. This is really an obscene piece of legislation.
Senator Sanders, can I ask for your reaction to the news that Senator Tillis is not going to be running for re-election? In a statement he wrote, quote, "Too many elected officials are motivated by pure raw politics who really don't give a damn about the people they promised to represent on the campaign trail." So I guess two questions.
Bagheera, how was it dismal? I didn't watch it myself. I've seen right-wingers say it's dismal. I've seen other people say it was just Bernie being Bernie. Joe Rogan once again said, you know, he would vote for Bernie if he ran for president. So how do you see it as dismal?
Questions for you. The first is, are you surprised by the timing of this, or not surprised at all? And then how can senators, I guess, prove they do give a damn about people in this moment? Is it simply by opting out of this system?
You're raising a very important question. I want people to understand what's going on. The Republican Party has not just become a right-wing extremist party. In many cases, it's become like a Stalinist party, a cult of the individual. And what the party is about now is that Trump says something, and if you have an independent thought, if you disagree with Mr. Trump, if you think maybe what he's proposing doesn't work for your constituents, you're out of here. You raise your voice, and in 5 minutes, they will be announcing a primary to your election. So what happened is Tillis thought that this was a bad piece of legislation for North Carolina. He's right, it was. And the result of that is Trump said, good, we're going to primary you. You have the same thing in the House, with the very few people who are prepared to disagree with Trump. So right now, the Republican Party people are just afraid to dissent. And all you have to do is say, I love President Trump. I will do anything and everything he says. Hey, that's what being a candidate in the Republican Party is today. Pretty pathetic.
Speaking of constituents, Senator Sanders, one of the things that defies logic is that at least some reporting suggested that 49% of Medicaid recipients voted for Donald Trump. He is now betraying those people who voted for him. It doesn't make any political sense other than the fact that he doesn't feel he cares anymore about these voters because he already got what he got out of them in being reelected. But it doesn't explain why he is so hell-bent on hurting the people in red states as well that are trying to get
because he never gave a fuck
him into office.
I don't look at it exactly that way. I would say this is what oligarchy is about. And this is a reflection, as I mentioned a second ago, about a corrupt campaign finance system. Why do you think billionaires provide huge amounts of money? And by the way, it's not just the Republicans, Democratic billionaires as well. Why do you think they put all that money in? Because they love politics and the democratic process. They want something in return. And today is payback day. It's payback day for the billionaires who finance not only Trump, but many Senate and House members. And as to why low-income and working people have voted for Trump in large numbers. I think that has to do with the failure of the Democratic Party to stand up for the working class in this country.
The fact that he's brushed his hair is the reason why I think he's running for president.
And not giving ordinary people a real alternative. And that's something I should tell you that some of us are working very hard to change.
Senator Sanders, I want to dig in a little.
You did do a very good job brushing it.
Question. Bobby Kogan, the senior director of federal budget policy at the Center for American Progress, notes that Senate Republicans are calling to cut Medicaid and CHIP by over $1 trillion, which it would be at least 4 times the size of the largest Medicaid cut in U.S. history. What will that actually mean in practical terms for people who are potentially losing their health insurance?
All right. Thank you very much. And the answer I'm going to give you doesn't come from me or my staff. It comes from Yale University and the University of Pennsylvania, who did a study to just answer the question that you gave. What does it mean when you throw 16 million people off of health care? And by the way, when you impose a $35 copayment for many Medicaid recipients.
Well, you didn't do that good of a job of it, DJ Dub.
The answer is really quite shocking. What Yale and the University of Pennsylvania said is that this will result, and it's horrifying to me to have to say this, in the unnecessary deaths of 50,000 Americans every single year. So in other words, this is a death sentence for tens of thousands of Americans in order to give tax breaks to billionaires. And if that is not obscene and disgusting, I don't know what is.
Senator Sanders, can I ask you for a moment to, I guess, reflect on the kind of split screen moment that we're experiencing as a country this weekend while we see all this unfold in Washington, D.C., in Venice, overseas. A number of celebrities and mega wealthy individuals are celebrating billionaire Jeff Bezos' wedding, mega $1 million wedding. And, you know, it may seem like a popular culture story.
Yeah, that just happened over the weekend.
I'm curious if for you, it tells us something about the moment we're all living through, that could be happening at the very same time that millions of Americans are about to experience this.
I think we should capitalize on the optics, DJ Dub.
Set of cuts. What does it mean to you?
Well, thank you. What it means to me is that we are living, as people have heard me say for a while, in an oligarchic form of society, where a small number of people like Jeff Bezos, who's the second richest guy in the world, have more money than they could spend in 1,000 lifetimes. In this case, my understanding is his wedding cost $50 million. He gave his wife, what was it, a $5 million ring? What they are saying to the whole world is, we got it. And we don't give a damn about anybody else except ourselves. And greed is our religion. We want more and more. And if children go hungry, that's the way it is. And if people die because they can't afford health care, that's the way it is. We are going to continue to finance candidates and presidents.
Yep, fuck you.
For us, and to hell with everybody else. So I think you're right in looking at what's going on in Venice with Bezos' wedding as a real indication of what's going on in this society. Rich got doing unbelievably well. Their greed is out for all to see, and they could care less about thousands of people dying because they can't afford health care.
So, Senator, then how can the Democrats prove that they give a damn about the people right now? I know you and others are taking it out to the heartland. You're speaking about oligarchy. But as a party, what can you do in this moment? What can you do to stop this bill or slow it down, if at all, other than taking it out to the public?
Well, everything we possibly can. I mean, everything. I mean, I think one of the problems is that while this bill, according to the polls, is unpopular, as it should be, there are still a whole lot of people who don't know what's in it. And I really think that people probably, when they hear what's in it, they don't believe it. You know, they say, oh, come on, really?
Yeah.
The billionaires throw people off of health care and they're going to die? Nah, that really can't happen. That's
it does.
We have with Trumpism in general. Things are so outrageous that people don't believe you when you tell them the truth. So we have got to work day and night. It's going to be a long night tonight. I'm not quite sure what happens if this bill gets past the Senate, what happens with the House.
Apparently 5:30 in the morning.
From this moment on, we've got to do everything we can to educate the American people and make sure they put pressure on the Senate and the House to vote against it.
Are there any?
Bernie got interrupted as he was speaking on the Senate floor earlier today. This is kind of interesting.
The Sergeant of Arms will restore order. The Sergeant.
Well, apparently Bernie had just gotten finished speaking.
The Sergeant of Arms will restore order. The Sergeant of Arms will restore order in the galley. The Sergeant of Arms will restore order. The Sergeant of Arms will restore order in the galley.
Apparently said you people are awful.
Sergeant of Arms will restore order in the galley.
I mean, most of them are awful. If you're going to yell awful at one of them, I think Bernie's the one. I'm kind of biased.
The Sergeant of Arms will restore order. The Sergeant of Arms will restore order in the galley. The Sergeant of Arms will restore order.
I mean, we're the ones that put the conditions in place where, like, fucking, it's a society where only sociopaths can succeed. You have to be a goddamn sociopath or a psychopath to succeed at the highest level of politics, to succeed at the highest level of business. You can't have empathy. It's absurd. We heard from Bernie, socialist Bernie Sanders. Fox News telling us, it's going to be a hot socialist summer, apparently.
A hot socialist summer. Zohran Mamdani is closing in on the Democratic nomination for New York City mayor, and he's already stirring up controversy. The socialist refused 3 times to condemn hateful rhetoric that calls for violence against Israelis and Jews.
Well, Maddie, you're not actively out here wanting to hurt people.
Globalize the Intifada.
That's not language that I use. The language that I use and the language that I will continue to use to lead this city is that which speaks clearly to my intent, which is an intent grounded in a belief in universal human rights.
But do you actually...
Anonymously, I tell you good evening.
I believe that the role of the mayor is to police speech.
So why not just condemn it?
My concern is to start to walk down the line of language and making clear what language I believe is permissible or impermissible takes me into a place similar to that of the president who is looking to do.
Did you tell me to wear a condom?
Okay, what? Anyway, Zohran had no hesitation condemning billionaires and the white neighborhoods he wants.
Well, yeah, fuck billionaires.
Explain why you are bringing race into your tax proposal.
That is just a description of what we see right now. It's not driven by race. It's more of an assessment of what neighborhoods are being undertaxed versus overtaxed. I don't think that we should have billionaires because, frankly, it is so much money in a moment of such inequality.
And President Trump is sizing up the man he might have to work with.
They got to watch.
Communist. I think it's very bad for New York.
How much is Zohran they play?
If he does get in, I'm going to be president, and he's going to have to do the right thing, or they're not getting any money. Whoever's mayor of New York is going to have to behave themselves, or the federal government is coming down very tough on them financially.
He said if Benjamin Netanyahu comes to New York, he's going to have him arrested.
Oh, he's a radical left lunatic.
Because there's a warrant out for his arrest.
Partly because it's not just a New York story, in my opinion, Kennedy. I feel like this is a tale of
Kennedy.
And it's coming to a city near you.
Oh my God, those
There are patterns
glasses.
here on behavior, on the slogans, and the tactics on which he is doing this campaign.
Yeah, and you know, this old song and dance has been used over and over again, but it's a Ponzi scheme because there's always a new group of voters.
I'll tell you what, old song and dance has been used all over and over again.
They see it all, and they
It's
take
called
it
Red Scare propaganda.
Superficial, very slick message, incredibly well packaged. But if you look beneath the surface and you look where socialism and democratic socialism has harmed communities throughout the country, you don't have to look very far. You know, you can go to Chicago and let's go Brandon Johnson, the mayor there, has done a great disservice to the city. And there are writers there, reporters, and
he's
citizens
black.
who are warning New
In
Yorkers.
case you guys don't know what she's talking about.
It is a scam. He doesn't have your back. He is not going to improve these neighborhoods. He's going to turn Madison Avenue into the market of sweethearts like they have in Roosevelt Avenue in his home district of Queens. So it's incredible.
Oh, DJ Dub, I didn't even think about that.
Voters who haven't
These
heard
augmented reality glasses, those are products that these tech bros are wanting to hawk.
And Cuba,
didn't Meta just drop theirs like a couple months ago? Didn't
free
they?
market reformers in Sweden who saw their GDP swirling down the toilet when they tried to be a socialist country, the kind of country
I feel like
Bernie Sanders
Fox owned part of
system
Meta.
of governance and economics doesn't exist in Sweden anymore. They had to change. They had to
Would
move
you
to the
put
right to
Portland in
survive.
that same category?
Absolutely. Portland and Seattle, all these cities where they have ultra-liberal DAs who hate cops, they hold these cities hostage. They give all the rights to homeless people and make sure they have as many drugs as possible, and they call it harm reduction, but they don't get people into rehab. They have abandoned the drug courts, and they are human waste that they have just thrown onto the streets.
What?
Harold, he is kind of the only one that has figured out a way to go through the window that opened when basically Mayor Adams decided to run as an independent. He and Cuomo felt too old, too scandalized, too like the campaign was very lackluster, didn't even try. And he just said, I'm going to go right through here. And he created a lane. And now the Democrats are looking at that. Wait, so who is our leader? Is it Hakeem Jeffries? Is it Schumer? Or is it this guy?
So it's always.
I'd rather take Mamdani.
Yes, brother. It's good to see you.
I missed you. Did you get my card?
This is their token liberal.
You asked a couple questions in there.
supposedly.
Now, the leader of the Democratic Party here in the city, he has become a face of it, Mamdani. I still think Eric Adams, as the incumbent, would make a claim to that. And I don't know what Andrew Cuomo is going to do. I think he still has a line on the ballot. But let's step back. I didn't understand his interview with Kirsten Walker. He said that he didn't want to add race or introduce race to this, but he doesn't want to police speech. But I guess it's okay for him to add any kind of speech he wants and just wrap it or defend it with the notion of free speech. I wonder what he thinks about the word slavery. Is that something you don't want to talk about? Or what he thinks about the N-word? Does he have friends who use that word and we may misunderstand it? Talk about wealth and race, I think, is the most racist thing to do. So I hope if he's going to be, he is the leader, the nominee for the Democratic Party. I hope he understands that, and I hope he reassesses how he talks about these things, because a lot of people are listening and a lot of people are reacting. Two, I give him credit in this regard to your question, Dana. He figured out something we've been saying around his table, that affordability is the issue on most Americans.
They pay this guy millions of dollars to say absolutely nothing, and it's sickening to me. I am so much better at this. There are a million people so much better at this than me or him, but I'm a million times better at it than him.
And I would argue with Paul, public safety and security is as well, but affordability was a big issue. And the person who grabbed it the best, who talked about it the best, who developed answers after tackling the issue the best.
That's why I said they got to watch how much they play of Zoran, because his message will resonate.
I think here in New York, right, their prices are way high for housing. Prices are way high for small business owners. But to give away everything free as the answer, I think it's hard to say to small business owners who pay taxes, who work hard, who want to instill a work ethic.
Fundamentally, everything you have said about him is false.
That we should just give everything
Harold
away
Ford
for free.
Jr.
So whomever is his leading opponent, whether it's Andrew Cuomo or Eric Adams, is certainly on the ballot, that they craft a message around these things to go after him and make him answer. How are you assessing wealth through race, but you can't condemn global intifada? You can't condemn or acknowledge the state of Israel's right to exist. I mean, these are real questions I think he's going to have to answer.
He wants free.
I've been thinking about that. The state of Israel's right to exist. First of all, why would an ethno-state have a right to exist? But then I thought about it in other ways. Like, does the United States have a right to exist? That doesn't make any sense. No, it doesn't. No country has a right to. People have a right to exist. Countries don't.
Rent, he wants $30 per hour for minimum
Julie.
wage, which basically means that every business is going to have to figure out a way to come up with all of that money. And Paul, the other thing that he had been for is defund the police. And you lived through that. And he's trying to sort of weaselly walk himself out of it, but it's there in black and white.
Look, we're going to get to know him a lot better before game time here in November. All right? And this is very early in the
Why don't you have him on and talk to him, you
Let's go
fucks?
through a couple of things. First of all, how far would you be able to get away with saying globalize apartheid? Because that's how that hits the ear of Jewish Americans. To globalize the Intifada means, okay,
You're running an apartheid state. If you don't like apartheid, stop doing it.
the Intifada is an uprising in the Middle East. You can attack Jews. If you're globalizing it, that means you can do it anywhere. Furthermore, he says, you know what, mayors shouldn't police speech. Yet at the same time, he is saying, I am going to crack down on, quote unquote, bigotry and hate speech in the 5 boroughs. And he mentions MAGA, naturally, of course. So that's very contradictory. Let's remember something. He got in because I would argue he's the first guy to truly weaponize. This is the first TikTok campaign.
Yep.
He's the one who figured out how to weaponize TikTok to get him in. So when you consider the fact that it's received wisdom on both
weaponize
that TikTok is a Chinese influence operation, which it is. Okay, the American TikTok looks very different from the TikTok that you get in Beijing. If that's the case, is it any shock that his electorate tracks closer to Beijing than it does to New York or Washington? Of course it does, because
his electorate is New York, you piece of shit.
He's Chinese agent. He's part of the CCP. I'm not alleging that, but it's the ideology. And that's just basically that. Real quick, let's go through the metrics of the vote since you bring it up. What he's doing right now is he understands that chances are Cuomo's not going to be there by game day, which means his main adversary is going to be Eric Adams. So what he's doing is he's leaning very hard into the black vote. He knows that Adams is going to peel that off. So that's why you see him. He's meeting with the Reverend Al. He's with Spike Lee. He's quoting all of a sudden he's talking about Reverend King, which you've never heard him do.
No, fascism is here.
Well, I said white. I didn't mean white. What he's trying to do is peel off 10%, 15% of the black vote. Because remember something, Cuomo got the black vote over him. He knows that. He's a clever politician. But let me just close by saying this. This is the fault, in my estimation, and it is a fault, because this is just a disaster. We got 8 years of this, guy's going to be nothing left in New York. All right. This is the fault of the teachers.
Yep.
Because they
wow.
understand that if you just take one look at history, name anywhere, a socialist/communist regime, and he is a communist, according to all the specific, I could go through it, he tracks to all the communist ideology. He's talking about seizing the means of production. I mean, that's right out of Marx.
I have not heard him say seize the means of production once, but fucking based if he's down with it.
But punting on that, the bottom line is, if you look at anybody who inhabits the space he inhabits throughout history, not one has ever succeeded without devolving into a dictatorship.
Shelley, welcome in.
China, Russia, Cambodia, Cuba, Venezuela, they're all nightmare regimes. Essentially, New Yorkers of a certain age, under
Trump is a nightmare regime.
Are voting for a guy.
All my Chinese friends tell me that you're a fearmonger.
I'm going to make the decisions. You run it, go ahead. That's what they're doing.
Greg, within about 2 years of becoming a U.S. citizen, he was joining protests demanding statues of founding fathers be taken down and calling America a racist country. And that's the kind of thing that really turns people against.
Yeah, look at this racism.
Like you get the polarization that gets stronger.
Yeah, also, he's just not deep.
No.
This is a very shallow person. This guy makes David Hogg look like Margaret Thatcher. And I would.
What does that even mean?
On how you criticize him, because remember, the Democrats' fault with Trump was that they went after him without offering an alternative. Yep. So the accusations of Islamism, is that it? Islamism? Islamism, whatever. Like it's going to feed into Islam.
It's all projection with these fucks.
Socialist in New York isn't an insult. It's a virtue signal for the luxury believers. You know, the hard left are going to...
Gutfeld is the most shallow person I've ever seen.
The most harm. And in a low turnout vote, low turnout city, that's all you need. A lot of people are really comfortable in New York, and they're just going to they're not even going to pay attention. This guy's going to sneak in. I think
is that his wife's shirt?
Socialism is. It's redistribution. To get free stuff, you have to take it from everybody else. So it's theft. They're taking from your parents to pay for what? Imagine government-run supermarkets. Imagine a 7-Eleven that looks like the DMV. But with
the DMV is amazing.
Dismal and depressing. It's gonna.
I don't know about you guys, but the last time I went to the DMV, that's like, I have never received customer service that good at any private business ever. I'm assuming these millionaires sitting around this table that live in New York City don't even go to the DMV. Flash, like I think I could have made an appointment and I didn't. I still walked in and it was like 5 minutes in and out. They printed my license there. Like there was no paper license and get sent the other one. No, they printed my license out. Like that's what took the longest. Like these motherfuckers don't know about a DMV. That's a joke from 40 years ago.
B. So he's the walking, breathing definition of the luxury belief. That is the stance that only the elites can endure because the brunt of the policies will destroy the lower class. They can't afford this. So it's easy, like you said, to vote for defunding the police if you have private security. It's easy to promote sanctuary cities when you don't live near the Roosevelt Hotel or you're not competing for jobs in which the wages keep getting lower and lower. So I would just, for people that don't know this guy, remember, it wasn't Daniel Penny he defended. It was the deranged perpetrator, Jordan Neely.
You mean the innocent person who did nothing wrong and got murdered?
He was a violent offender. That's the choice he made.
Was he a violent offender, or was he completely innocent? That is so wild. The only person to commit violence that day was Daniel Penny. And yet Jordan Neely gets labeled as the violent offender. The party told you not to believe your eyes. The Michael Jackson dancer on the subway. Yeah, that was the dangerous guy. He weighed like 100 pounds soaking wet. Minty, welcome in.
New York City back to the swirling muck that it once was in the 70s. But it's not going to happen with a wide.
The propaganda is just insane.
Freak. It's a glib, polished elite, airbrushed by the Soros Foundation. The worst part about it is, what do we do? I live in
Libertad, welcome in.
Where a woman was nearly murdered around the corner from me by a deranged homeless guy. One guy was murdered 2 doors from me.
I don't believe it, Gutfeld.
End of the last summer. What could happen? Like, when do we move? Like, when does a company decide that it's no longer safe for its workers to be here?
Yeah.
That's a decision because you know what? I love having.
Fuck you, Gutfeld. Really? Right in front of Riri and her fish.
Who y'all think y'all frontin' on?
Disgusting. We're back live to the Senate floor. This is what is known as the Votorama. What we believe is that the Republicans may not exactly have the votes. And that is one of the reasons why we are slow walking this through the night. Latest update tells us that if they go at this same pace, the final vote would be set for 5:30 a.m. Noisy Immigrant, welcome in, my friend. Good evening. Holiday, give Noisy Immigrant a shout out. Go help him get bigger on Twitch. My friend is rocking it on TikTok and YouTube. We need to build you up on Twitch, brother. Glad to see you. Hope you had a good stream. Raiders, welcome in. I am Justin Freakin. We find out what that news be doing Sunday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Yes, the chat will say I'm a liberal. I consider myself a leftist. This is Senator Joni Ernst from Iowa. Now, I would indeed jump ship, change teams if I was able to land a GOP mommy. Julie, Matt, welcome in. Is there anybody else I missed? Glad to have you. Julie, thank you for being a freaking follower. All my peeps, once again, go follow Noisy Immigrant. Oh. We were just going over, this is the Trump big beautiful bill, the Senate. Oh, that's not Joni Ernst. I'm sorry. How did I not even recognize my woman? My apologies. Shit. Joni, I'm sorry if you're watching. It was a further away shot. Oh shit, Matt, thank you for throwing out the gift sub. Hair not helmet like enough. Oh, well, okay. Here's the thing: is I might be a little face blind. I messed things up. Well, I noticed it when it flipped to the other shot. I was like, it's clearly not Joni. I know my little lady. I would sell everything I own to piss in Dan Crenshaw's open eye hole. Give me that eye pussy, sir. Always awkward when you scream the wrong elected official's name in bed. Oh man, what if I hook up with Joni and I accidentally call her Anna? Or worse, I call her Christy. Oh yeah! They call her Christy Gnome. Glitter sparkles, y'all. I love it. Glitter sparkles, y'all. You would like my best friend Sparkles Lavendar. Not lavender. Sparkles Lavendar. Is she from the South? We just all sparkly people over here. I got the Pride graphics up for the last day of Pride Month. We're sparkly Pride graphics. I like sparkles. I'm a big fan of sparkles. I fucking fuck. God damn it, T-minus. Need pride all year indeed. Let's jump to this. It was the Dan Crenshaw that made you follow. There are people in my chat that tell me I do that too much. And I'm like, that's the best introduction to this stream. Glitter, you get a titty slap for that.
A titty slap!
Come on now.
I have no idea. I have no idea why anybody watches me. We do like murders and cop death and like the wonkiest fucking political fuck. Already messed it up. And then I make real sophomorish jokes. That's all it is. Do I shoot myself in the economic foot? Which cat do you want? Ducky, do you have a preference? I think I see Socrates. I think he's the closest one. But he also looks really comfortable. He was like, I was sleeping. Ooh, he broke skin. Yeah, ow. He doesn't particularly like being picked up. Okay, anyway, if you're just joining us, this is the Senate floor currently. This is Trump's big, beautiful bill. It's the budget reconciliation bill. Republicans are passing it through the process known as reconciliation so that they don't have to face a filibuster from Democrats. They still might not even get the 50 votes they need. They'll fly in J.D. Vance if they need to. We're currently in the part that is known as the vote-a-rama. They're putting forward amendments and voting on them. We're getting information that they perhaps don't have the votes to pass it, and that's why they're taking their time. If they continue at the same pace, it's apparently going to be about 5:30 in the morning. Yeah, apparently Lisa Murkowski is a holdout that they're trying to get to vote because they've got Rand Paul and Tom Tillis are voting against it. Murkowski is if they lose Murkowski, they can't afford anybody else. Hawaiian Senator Dan Sullivan Okay, what? No, I'm sorry. Alaskan Senator Dan Sullivan apparently bashing Hawaiian Senators Mazie Hirono, Brian Schatz. The parliamentarian keeps striking down provisions. So that kind of gets you caught up on what is going on. Yeah, it's confusing. Everything is fluid right now. But basically what it boils down to is it doesn't seem like they have the votes. And Murkowski might be one of the holdouts. It's a very unpopular bill. Here is our boy, Harry Enton, over on CNN.
I'll give you some adjectives. How about awful, horrible, and to quote our dear friend, Mr. Sir Charles Barkley, terrible, terrible, terrible. What are we talking about here? Well, why don't we take a look at the big, beautiful bill? I got five, not just four, 5 different polls across the screen for you. This is the net favorable.
Can you guys hear that?
Its rating comes from the Washington Post at minus 19 points. How about Pew, minus 20 points? How about Fox, minus 21? Quinnipiac, minus 26. And KFF takes the cake at minus 29 points. When you have a bill whose net favorable rating ranges from minus 19 points, which is already terrible, all the way to minus 29 points, the bottom line is the American people don't see this as a big, beautiful bill. They see it as a big, bad bill. They hate it, hate it, hate it. They think it's awful, awful, awful.
All right. Has it become less popular or more popular as Americans start learning about the details in this bill?
Yeah, I think a lot of Republicans have been trying to argue the more that Americans get to know about this bill, the more they'll like it. Ain't the case. Let's take a look here. University pulled it at early June and late June. The big, beautiful bill, the net favorable rating. You look here, excuse me, should be at 26. Minus 26 points in early June. How about in late June? Look at this, minus 26 points. So the more they get to know about this bill, the less they, in fact, don't think
that don't make any sense.
Just as bad in early June as they think it was in late June. So the more they get to know this bill, they hate it just the same. And I'll point out the favorable rating among independents, minus 45 points. Just terrible.
That's a huge number, minus 45. What is it that makes...
Where'd 45 come from?
What is it that makes it so unpopular? Donald Trump got elected to a second term because...
None of this adds up.
But then you take my 75% chance of winning and then add 66 and 2/3%. I got 141 and 2/3 chance of winning.
So he was trying to make the case that it lost popularity. They had the numbers backwards, didn't they? It was supposed to be 26 to 29%. But then it was wrong. They were flipped. Avalon, good evening.
People look back at his first term and they said, you know, we thought his first term agenda helped.
Because we saw the number. It was 29. We saw it at the beginning. See, 29. So late June is now. It should be 29. Early June should have been 26. They're dyslexic. No, it was an honest error. They got it backwards. I was arguing with this motherfucker, and he kept bringing up CNN, and I was like, why are you talking about CNN? Like, you people are just obsessed. It's probably an overworked intern. You're right, Flash.
Was in late June. So the more they get to know this bill, they hate it just the same. And I'll point out the favorable rating among independents, minus 45 points. Just terrible.
That's a huge number, minus 45. What is it that makes it so unpopular?
What is it that makes it so unpopular? Donald Trump got elected to a second term because people look back at his first term and they said, you know, we thought his first term agenda helped our family. You see this here, Trump's policies in your family. Trump's first term agenda, 44% said it helped their family, compared to 31% who said hurt. But look at the big, beautiful bill. Look at this. Just 23% of Americans say that the big, beautiful bill helps their family, compared to 49% who says it hurts their family. No wonder they hate this bill. Folks elected Donald Trump to a second term because they wanted him and his policies to help their family, but they think the big, beautiful bill does the exact opposite of that. They think it hurts their family.
It is pretty clear what the polling is saying this morning.
Sometimes there's a lack of clarity. Today,
there's
a lot of clarity.
All right, Harry Enton, thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
No, it didn't reset. Hold on. There we go. Now, I mentioned they may not have the votes, but they may have to be reworking the bill. Senator Tammy Baldwin is accusing them of like rewriting it as they go along.
Is there something we don't know?
Oh gosh, there's a lot of things. So first of all, one thing you might not know is they're still writing the bill as we debate it.
Wow.
Mark it up. There are right now provisions in back rooms that are being rewritten.
Yes.
And at the end of this amendment process, you're probably going to see a brand new bill come out.
Wow.
There's going to be lots of things in there that you might not know about.
And to me, that's terrifying, right? Because they could just slip it in right before it passes.
And, you know, so why are they doing that? I don't want to get too much into the weeds, but right now, you may have seen that they just narrowly were able to move the bill to the floor for debate. And there's people who said, I'll vote to advance it, but I'm not voting for it. These are Republicans we're talking about. But I'm not voting for it until you fix this for my state or fix this for this.
Yes.
And so that's what's going on right now. And, you know, there's going to be surprises in this bill.
That's scary.
Well, I mean, usually you have somewhat of a concrete plan that you're going into. Yeah, there's things you massage. We're going to talk about the DOJ wanting to strip citizenship later. I don't think I can deal with that right now. Trump yelling at AT&T. That's pretty funny. Oh, here you go. One of the darlings of the conservatives in the House flip it in sounds so dirty. So dirty. Apparently, While the bill is incredibly unpopular, voting against it is even more unpopular. Thomas Massie in trouble among Republicans in the primary in Kentucky as he seeks re-election. It's coming from Kaplan Strategies, as featured on Fox News. With just under a year until the 2026 Republican primary, incumbent Congressman Thomas Massie appears to be in for a rough road ahead. When asked if voters plan to re-elect Massie regardless of who runs against him, only 19% indicate support for Massie, while 47% indicate support for a challenger, including the hypothetical of a Trump endorsement of a challenger. Massie's support falls to 14%, and those supporting a challenger rises to 59%. As of the time of the poll was in the field, there was one candidate, registered nurse Nicole Lee Ethington, filed to challenge Massie in the Republican primary in a head-to-head poll. Massie trails Ethington 31 to 19%, with a majority of voters undecided. Quesadilla, welcome in. The tweets are what people like about Thomas Massie, I'm pretty sure. Is there any more big, beautiful bill bullshit we need to talk about before we move on? I guess let's listen to Trump talk about it earlier today. Who looks insane, Minty?
Took to his social media platform advising Republican senators not to go too crazy, is the quote, even suggesting that they still need to be reelected. A little bit of a threat there. Let's bring in our Washington, D.C. Bureau Managing Editor, Catherine Falders, to talk about just the politics of all this and, how they plan to get the bill over the finish line. We're already seeing the grip that President Trump has on his own party when it comes to Tom Tillis, that we just talked about, announcing he won't run for re-election.
No re-election for him.
All that went down, and more to follow?
I mean, look, we saw that happen, and you all just talked about there with Don Bacon, who has been an outspoken critic at times against President Trump. So, look, what do I make of Tom Tillis? On the one hand, it was surprising the way he announced it. On the other hand, maybe you could argue that it was expected in some ways. The reporting on this is interesting, too, that, of course, this happens right after Trump criticizes Tillis for voting against the big, beautiful bill, as we call it. And Tillis did recall and recount a phone call that he had with Trump where he relayed his concerns on this. But he also did say, and he pledged, frankly, to find another Republican person to fill his seat, and that he would help the administration do that. So it'll be interesting to see how this relationship goes moving forward. But when you say more to come, it's possible. There might be more to come here. The question is just how many.
And Republicans are now apparently making deals for votes in order to meet the president's July 4th deadline. What kind of deals are we talking about here?
Well, we don't really totally know all of these things yet. I'm looking at the clock, Kira, and they have been doing this votorama for hours now, and there hasn't been much progress on this. Now, what will happen during the day-to-day is, of course, and you're looking at the Senate floor right now, is that there will be an unlimited number of amendments that are introduced. And a lot of this is to get Republicans on the record voting against certain things or not for certain things. That's really Chuck Schumer's strategy here. But then, as you know, you might see some agreements come out and some work get done through all of this. Again, it's entirely unclear at this point, but this is expected to go on most of the day. Unclear when exactly this will all wrap up. But we do know that the earliest that this could then go over to the House side will be on Wednesday. So all of the timing is still in flux, but at least that's the earliest we could see it back over at the House.
Well, Elon Musk is back after exiting sort of in a strange way last month, saying the bill will destroy millions of jobs in America.
Elon's back. Oh, Elon's criticism.
Insane and destructive.
Thought you meant he was back in the White House.
The vote at all?
Like that. Oh.
It could could. We know that Musk was quiet for a little bit there, and now he's decided to reemerge, at least on his criticisms here. Of course, this led to that back and forth between Musk and President Trump. So, look, it could ultimately have an impact, but I don't know.
Not just a Meyer bullshit.
We know
It is a muck and Meyer
he will just
bullshit.
continue to say how he feels on X, and we could still see more of those comments from him.
All right, Catherine, thanks.
Fuck your 10 minutes. I don't give a shit. I'm turning it off. I'm done with it. I'm sorry. I can't cheat somebody on their channel points. Let's go to... I'm gonna get the fuck out of here and do some Glastonbury. Let's wrap this news up. Let's get we're going to the crime section here. Police have identified the suspect, giving us new details in the ambush of firefighters that we covered last night. We were in the midst of a manhunt. Right before we went off the air, we found out that they found the dude and he was dead. The name is Wes Roley.
Shooting of 2 Idaho firefighters on Sunday has left many questioning what could possibly be the motive for such a heinous act. But one theory has gripped the internet. In the afternoon on June 29th, first responders were called to a small but active brush fire on the east side of Canfield Mountain near Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. As fire crews moved in to tackle the blaze around 2 p.m., bullets suddenly rained down, fired by an unknown assailant hiding in the woods, officials said. The grisly scene was captured in harrowing 911 audio as firefighters were pinned down by the crazed shooter.
There's an active shooter at a fire. There's potentially 2 battalion chiefs down. They're shot. BC3 is down. BC1's down. Everybody's shot up here. Law enforcement, code 3 now up here. Then immediately up here, we've got 2 unresponsive battalion chiefs, gunshot wounds, multiple gunshot wounds.
The horrific ordeal ended about 5 hours later when SWAT teams discovered the lifeless body of the shooter next to his firearm on a popular tourist trail, according to police. On June 30th, the shooter was ID'd by police as Wes Roley. It was confirmed that a Coeur d'Alene firefighter and a Kootenai County Fire and Rescue member lost their lives in the sudden strike, while a third firefighter was left fighting for life after surgery, but is now in stable condition. Kootenai County Sheriff Robert Norris said in a news conference.
We do believe that the suspect started the fire, and we do believe that it was an ambush and it was intentional.
While police have yet to release any conclusions on Roley's motive, internet sleuths discovered a shocking coincidence concerning the town's fire department. The deadly incident occurred 24 years to the day of the deliberate burning of the headquarters of the far-right Aryan Nations group in Hayden Lake, just 7 miles.
Well.
Aryan Nation leader Richard Butler was forced to sell the site in a bankruptcy sale after being ordered to pay a Native American woman $6.3 million as part of a lawsuit, after the hate group's security guards had opened fire at the woman, Victoria Keenan, when she stepped outside the building with her son in 1998. Keenan bought the dilapidated compound for $95,000 and sold it to a local philanthropist who let the local Coeur d'Alene Fire Department burn it down as part of a training exercise. On June 28th and 29th of 2001, the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department conducted the training exercise, sending the compound into a furious blaze.
When we heard what had happened and where it happened at, there was no doubt in my mind. It was a Nazi. It was somehow connected to Nazis. I've seen pictures of his parents online. They both had Trump's hats on. I don't know if that's for real or not. I don't want to go ahead and throw that out there, but like multiple people shared it out. Just as soon as we knew what happened, I'm like, this is Nazi related. Because multiple incidents like this have happened.
Now, conspiracy theorists and locals are questioning whether Sunday's incident may have been a revenge attack for the fire department's deliberate burning down of the compound. So far, there is no indication that Rowley had any political motivations or ties to neo-Nazi groups.
Right now, there's no indication he had ties to neo-Nazi groups. But I mean, look at the dude. Look at the dude.
The tragic shooting of 2 Idaho firefighters on Sunday has left many questioning what could possibly be the motive for such a heinous act. But one theory has gripped the internet. In the afternoon on June 29th, first responders...
It's the same fucking... It's the same video. They just posted it with a different title. The most up-to-date story I can find, though, is... well, it's not a story. It's the press conference from about an hour ago. Yeah, it was the same video.
What we'd like to accomplish today here at this press conference is, when you leave here today, I want you to know who the suspect is, know what we know about the suspect right now, I'll give you a fire update of where the fire is right now, and some of the challenges that
I just reset it
in making a containment on a 3.2 square mile mountain. And to let you know that we had a jumper off a Veterans Bridge, and we'll give you just a little bit of information on that. So
wait, what?
So the suspect that has been identified by our Cooney County Coroner's Office, Coroner Duke Johnson there, has been identified as Wes Val Rowley, date of birth of May 1st, 2005. As of right now, and this is all very, very preliminary, we've had a lot of resources at the crime scene. We've been working through the night, so many of these facts are subject to change. We believe that Rowley has prior residence in California, Arizona, and Idaho. We believe he was born in California. The Cooney County Sheriff's Office and Coeur d'Alene Police Department, we've had 5 interactions with Rowley. And of those 5 interactions, we've had 3. Coeur d'Alene Police had 2. They're very, very minor in nature. They
go on.
Had to do with more trespassing. He was trespassing at a location. He was asked to leave, and he cooperated. We had some welfare checks on Rowley, and very, very minor. We don't show any criminal history for Rowley. We do have some social media presence for for Rowley. We'll find it disgusting to call him a Mr., but we don't have any much to go on. Here's some of his social media postings.
Oh, total Nazi!
Recently removed from social media. I believe this one was Instagram, and we have some copies of this that Lieutenant Mark Ellis will distribute. Where we're at with the crime scene. The crime scene is active. We still have the suspect's vehicle that is up down an embankment of the mountain. Deputies who responded on scene to protect life and engage the suspect thought it would be in their best interest to get rid of what they thought was Rowley's vehicle. So they had the frame of mind to push it over the side so he couldn't come around and get in that vehicle and flee. So we have not been able to find any manifesto. We have not been able to inventory the vehicle, although people that have seen the vehicle do believe it appeared as if he was living in the vehicle. There was a lot of debris that's in the vehicle, so that's all we have on that. Like I said again, we have not verified or found any manifesto. We have not done an inventory of that vehicle. I'd like to give you an update on the fire that we believe Rowley started. Rowley was found to be in possession of a flint starter, and we believe that was his method for starting the fire. That eventually led to firefighters responding. So as of right now, the fire is at 26 acres. It has not grown. It is a slow progress because it's very difficult terrain to get assets, ground assets up there. Idaho Department of Lands is putting a lot of water on it from aerial supports, so that's going rather well. They believe they'll have a fire line around it by dark tonight.
Well, good.
No structures that are threatened.
All right, we're moving on. I think we got all we needed from that press conference. You're not going to give us any other details. Let's go to... a celebrity chef by the name of Tobias Dorzen was shot outside of their home. Police have now arrested a man. He's a celebrity chef, and I've never heard of him.
On a case we have been following for months.
That's right. Today, Prince George's County announced an arrest has been made in the shooting of a celebrity chef last winter. Our Lionel Donovan is at the courthouse now to break down some of the details. Lionel?
This is in D.C.
Good afternoon, Lorenzo and Simone. Well, 21-year-old Devin Spivey was arrested last Friday, and today he was held in court without bond. Now, he faces a wide array of charges, including 2 counts of first and second degree attempted murder each, along with 2 counts of stalking. And Prince George's County State's attorney promises that more arrests are coming.
We will do everything we can to make sure that they're held accountable.
State's Attorney Tara Jackson was joined by Heights
Carla, welcome in.
Jared Towers to announce that Devin Spivey was arrested in connection to the violent robbery of Tobias Dorzen. Dorzen and his girlfriend were both shot in front of their Hyattsville home while a group of 5 people robbed them last November. Both survived their wounds, and court documents say investigators were able to connect Spivey to the shooting through cell phone records that show Spivey's phone was near Dorzen around the time the shooting occurred.
We are using every avenue we can, and that unfortunately
Flash, get your calipers.
A trail, and we will find that trail.
That's Cophead if I've ever seen one.
It's unclear if Spivey was the one who shot Dorzen. Dorzen owns 2 restaurants in Prince George's and was recognized as the 2024 Chef of the Year by the Restaurant Association of Maryland.
Damn, looks
State's
good.
Attorney Jackson says although this investigation is still going on, she promises that the other robbers will be found.
It is our job as law enforcement to bring everyone who was involved in this crime, and really any crime that's committed in the county, to bring everyone to justice, to make sure that there is justice for every victim.
Now, Spivey's preliminary hearing is scheduled for July 28th, and if convicted, he could spend the rest of his life behind bars. Meanwhile, I'm told that Dorzen is asking for privacy at this time. But for now, we're live at the Prince George's County Courthouse. Lionel Donovan, WUSA 9.
It's a powerful statement to hear them say more arrests are coming, and we're hoping they make good on that promise. Lionel, thank you.
I was thinking the same thing, Drake. Welcome in, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Let's break out a police chase since you're here. No, we're going to Idaho, where Brian Koberger has accepted a plea deal. This brings like a 4-year murder mystery to an end. 4 students at the University of Idaho, 3 young ladies and a young man, had been murdered inside an apartment in the middle of the night. We had covered the search for the killer. It was like a like a 6-month search, I want to say, before they found Kohberger. I wondered about his guilt in this, but now apparently pleading guilty to the charges, accepting life in prison to avoid the death penalty. I guess he didn't think the trial was going to go in his favor.
There is a lot to unpack here as far as next steps and what could happen in court on Wednesday. And joining us now in studio is former King County Superior Court Judge Timothy Bradshaw. Judge, thanks so much for being here this afternoon.
My pleasure.
This breaking news, what's your reaction?
Like most people, surprise, particularly when the judge recently denied the continuance of the trial. I think all folks looking at this this trial and this awful case were expecting some answers and some resolution, perhaps justice. And now those things are placed in a whole different light.
This hearing that is going to be happening on Wednesday, can you shed some light as to what we expect to happen?
Sure. First of all, I'd emphasize that it hasn't happened yet, and I'm sure the trial judge is very concerned about this publicity. Should the plea not go through, not be accepted, that's going to be further taint on a jury pool. So I'm sure the judge is thinking that, first of all. When the hearing happens, if the hearing happens, there are two things going on: the law and the emotions. So the judge's concern will be, of course, the law, and by that, the judge has to make a conclusion that it's constitutional, that the plea is acceptable. So he will be doing a direct inquiry called a colloquy with the defendant to make sure that his understanding of the consequences of the plea are knowing, intelligent, and voluntary. Those are sort of the famous things to look for. And free of coercion. Excuse me.
And as you noted, there's still a lot of time from now until Wednesday. Is there any reason a judge might reject this plea?
If the judge does not conclude those things, that it is not voluntary, that it's a product...
Did I make it through the fucking 10 minutes?
Then yeah, the judge can reject it. The judge has an affirmative duty to make that determination.
He said duty.
As you mentioned, quite a surprising turn of events. A lot of people watching this may be wondering what goes into this type of plea deal.
After you do your duty, be sure to wash your ass.
Life is too short to walk this earth for a crusty asshole. Wash your ass.
Yeah, DJ Dub. You make an excellent point there.
They take the victims' families into consideration.
The ultimate decision is the prosecuting attorneys. So the victim's family are not technically clients. So the decision is the prosecutors and the prosecutors alone. However, of course, a prosecutor needs to, under any standard, not
You guys are doing your best to get the feds on me.
Input of the victims who are aggrieved.
Fucking warlord talking about how like he wants to acquire a nuclear weapon to take back DC. And I'm like, please, Mr. FBI guy, he's just joking. Clinically, constantly saying shit gonna get the feds called on me. I'm calling Joni Ernst. I mean, I'm not, my hands aren't clean in this.
Understandably.
And one of the biggest things in this case, Judge, has been the motive.
Well, the troll patrol is like always going to be my argument if somebody takes me to court.
If this plea deal goes through and accepts the plea deal, as we have heard he has, does that mean that we're closing the door on finding out the answers, potentially, on the motive in this case?
It's a great question, and the answer is a lawyer one. It depends. So one thing I'll be looking for is this what's called a straight plea versus an Alford plea? In a straight plea, the defendant needs to acknowledge all elements of the charges. A Alford plea, it's named after a famous case, doesn't do that. It says, I will likely be found guilty, but I'm not acknowledging that guilt. Furthermore, the prosecutor could require a statement from the defendant to provide some answers. So those things, I imagine, were part of the negotiations, and we don't yet have those answers.
Okay, so the answer is maybe. And Judge, any final thoughts, anything that you'll be watching in these next few hours?
My thoughts are for the family and all involved and what they're going through right now. They were anticipating some acknowledgement, I think, of the truth. They were hoping for justice, and now they have to recast what that perhaps would mean. Plea will give closure.
I mean, the killer's going away for life.
Penalty were rendered in the case. That invites years, sometimes, of unknowns and appeals. So this type of thing does provide closure, which is good, but it also can rob families of answers. Answers that, the rules of evidence would have allowed, the testimony would have allowed, and all the rest. So that's what I'm thinking about.
Judge, thank you for being here. We're all watching to see what happens next. Former King County Superior Court Judge Timothy Bradshaw, we appreciate your insight.
You're welcome.
We're going to get an update on another big-time trial going on right now. The jury, it's in their hands in the case of one Mr. P. Diddy, bad boy for life, on trial in New York City. I don't know that he's not going to get off. Now, I haven't been paying attention to it, but I've seen some people really freak out about what's going on. Now, it's a federal trial, so we don't have any video inside the courtroom. We would have been able to see the Kohberger trial. I'm kind of sad. Unless the judge had barred cameras, we were going to get to see the Kohberger trial. But jury ends... Jury continues to deliberate. It says ends deliberations, but they continue to deliberate. You go into Tuesday.
I'm Mike Marza. Day one of deliberations in the Sean Diddy Combs trial now in the books. And there were some fascinating developments on this day one. The jury sending 4 different notes to the judge, a couple just procedural, but a couple also with some interesting, maybe backstory to them. The first indicated that they had selected a 4-person. That is part of the process. The second, very interesting, as the jury questioned one of the jurors' ability or willingness to follow the judge's instructions. We're going to get more into that in just a moment. And then the third note was about how to understand narcotics distribution and the allegations surrounding that, something that the judge and the jury will tackle first thing tomorrow morning. The fourth note was about wrapping for the day and returning tomorrow morning. The judge saying all along that the jury will be able to make their own schedule. They finished around 5 today. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. In just a moment, we're going to be joined by ABC News legal contributor Bernarda Villalona to dig deeper into everything that unfolded in court and during the deliberations. But first up, Darla Miles with a recap from Lower Manhattan.
The first day of jury deliberations in the Sean Diddy Combs racketeering and sex trafficking trial off to an eventful start, even though it wasn't a full day. Combs' 3 adult sons and teen daughters in court today, as well as other relatives, and his 84-year-old mother, who has attended almost every day of the trial. Deliberations beginning at 11:19 after a 2-hour reading of jury instructions. All 12 jurors and 5 alternates with their eyes laser focused on the printout, seeing following back and forth on the page line by line. The 62-page document telling jurors to evaluate the evidence carefully and to resist jumping to any conclusions based on personal likes or dislikes, gut feelings or sympathies. The first note coming back quickly, which is not uncommon at all, saying, "We have elected juror number 5 as our 4-person. Then a second note after lunch saying, "We are concerned juror 25 cannot follow your honor's instructions. Can you please come out and speak with him?" The court sending a note back to the jury room, reminding them to follow his instructions to follow the law. The directive apparently helpful. After a few more hours of deliberations, the 4-person sending a third note about page 37 of jury instructions about drug distribution. That's one of the underlying crimes for the racketeering count. Deciding if giving drugs to Cassie and Jane during freak-offs was a criminal act. And while jurors only need to find that Combs coerced the 2 women into participating just one time, they have to be unanimous on which one. Judge Arun Subramanian will address the jury's question about drug distribution when deliberations resume tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. He also told jurors to return with an open mind. In Lower Manhattan, Darla Miles, ABC 7 Eyewitness.
I hope this fuck goes away.
Thanks to Darla for that recap. Joined now by ABC News legal contributor Bernarda Villalona to talk about this day one of deliberation.
We got the recap. That's all we need. Thanks very much. Appreciate you. Gonna hit the content warning before this next one. Cops out here doing cop things. Cop in the city of Boston charged with rape of a child. Accused of paying a child for sexual acts. This disgusting fuck.
A Boston police officer in handcuffs. Sergeant Paul Downey.
A sergeant.
For sex with a teenage boy he met online. Tonight, Downey remains behind bars.
And his own department is praising the work of state police investigators for that arrest. As WBZ's Louisa Moeller reports, clues eventually led them to a Boston police parking lot.
Being charged with 4 counts of aggravated rape of a child, 1 count of sexual conduct with a child under 18.
Boston Police Sergeant Paul Downey turned his back to the court as his 8 charges related to rape of a child were read aloud. But the case against the veteran police officer is going nowhere until tomorrow, with no attorney available to defend him.
Mr. Downey, I do not have an attorney to appoint to you, sir.
Investigators say
wow.
Met a 14-year-old boy on the dating app Grindr.
I wouldn't defend him.
Moved to Snapchat. The 58-year-old accused of meeting the boy twice this spring at different Boston locations and paying the child for sexual acts. The boy allegedly provided state police detectives with a description of Downey and a partial license plate number, which was tracked to a known parking area for Boston police. They also used digital records to track his Snapchat account, and the boy ID'd him in a photo lineup.
The Commonwealth would be asking for a $250,000 cash bail.
With no
That's all?
Downey will spend the night in jail and learn whether he will be released and on what conditions tomorrow. We went to his West Roxbury home to see if anyone could comment on his behalf, and nobody answered. Boston police
I feel sorry for his family.
Released a statement saying, "These charges are obviously very troubling, and our thoughts are with any alleged victim."
If he has a wife, she knew she was marrying a cop.
State Police and the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office to conduct a thorough investigation. The officer was immediately placed on administrative leave. Downey joined the Boston Police Force in 1991. In West Roxbury, Louisa Moeller, WBZ News.
It just said he provided police with the evidence, not that he snitched. We don't know. Maybe the parent found the information. Maybe the feds caught the kid and wanted him to snitch. Found out he was a cop and wanted to send him away. Did kind of seem like the kid was prostituting himself, though. But we don't know that. Hold on, I lost the story here. Hold on. Because we've got another good cop. We've got a cop apparently injured in an attack over the weekend in Milwaukee. Has succumbed to his injuries, so we got another good one. This happened in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Our big story today at 5, honoring fallen Milwaukee police officer Kendall Corder.
Governor Tony Evers has asked all flags to be flown at half-staff, and right now a memorial continues to grow around the squad Officers Corder and McCrae were assigned to the night investigators say they were ambushed. Tonight we're learning more about the fallen officer, Officer Corder.
We begin with Aaron Mabin and the show of support for the fallen officer. Aaron?
And Mary, that show of support is huge. Since this morning, we have seen a steady stream of mourners dropping off flowers, balloons, flags here at this district. What a sight to look at. I just talked to a woman who says that Officer Corder came to her rescue during a difficult time. They are here today honoring not only this fallen officer, but also this entire department.
He wanted to dive into this line of work at such a young age, and I asked him why. He was like, I just feel like it's my calling.
Officer Kendall Corder was called to serve.
He was a good person all around.
His friend,
you're pathetic.
He remembers Officer Corder
postmodern pathetic
conversations they had before his line of duty death.
He said, I still like what I'm doing.
His passion brighter than the flowers and balloons left at a memorial outside of Milwaukee Police District 2, where the fallen officer worked.
I was devastated with the news, hoping he was going to pull through, but unfortunately, he passed away.
Zach Anderson placed a flag on the squad Monday morning. Police say it's the same squad Officer
Post-pathetic Prometheus. That has a better ring to it.
were
You're
using
right.
Thursday night when police say a gunman ambushed them near 25th and Garfield. Gunfire hit both officers. Corder fought but did not survive.
I hope the community can support his family at this time and just support the MPD at this time, because they
fuck the MPD.
Day out and protect the community, and this could happen to anyone, but it's so sad.
People from across the area dropped off items.
Don't forget it's Live Music Monday. We're going to be doing live music
Throughout the day, including
probably about a half hour, I'd say.
I like the Milwaukee
Best of Glastonbury.
He wrote Officer Kendall Corder a letter, placing it on a memorial during a touching tribute.
Thank you for protecting my city and making it a safer.
Thank you for protecting my city.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for protecting my shitty.
The memorial you're looking at is expected to grow. District 2 officers who worked with Officer Kendall Corder, they're also working.
Goddamn Mongolians.
People giving them hugs, embracing them, dropping off pizza, sandwiches, desserts. We saw that just a few minutes ago. So a lot of emotion for this department, also for those officers who served with this fallen officer. The Milwaukee Police Department still working to plan this funeral for Officer Kendall Corder. We're live in Milwaukee tonight. Aaron Mabin, Fox 6 News.
And when we heard from the president of the Milwaukee Police Association yesterday, that's what he asked.
Did you say fuck him?
Officers, give him a hug, just give him some praise this week, because they certainly need it now more than ever.
Absolutely, Mary, and we've been out here all day seeing that, and also seeing moments just like this right here where people are once again adding toys, stuffed animals, mugs for this fallen police officer.
All right.
Mary?
Aaron, thank you.
Repentant man, welcome in. I'm glad you repented your sins. Wait, did you guys ban him or something? How the fuck did that happen? I just approved his message. There we go. It said people who are here illegally, we should deport all the potheads. Hold on. There we go. Mr. Spronk. Good evening.
You're Willie Nelson high. You're smoking some of the best dope God ever put breath in. You're Willie Nelson high. You're smoking some of the best dope God ever put breath in.
I don't have that finished yet. I'm working on it. I'm so close, but I didn't have time today to work on it. I've got a picture of Willie Nelson. I put the troll eyeballs on it. Why does it not allow you to say potheads? Okay, what do you have against potheads, repentant man? Why do you hate me? I don't hate you. Julie, thank you for the bits. What did a girl that smoked pot break your heart one day? A pothead stole his girl. That's it. That's what it is. Do I look mean to you? Like, have I done something to you? Why would you be against me? Pothead is an ableist slur. Interesting. Am I the butt of the joke? Am I the victim? Repentant man is just a troll. They ain't shit. Remember that dude that tried to blow up an in vitro fertilization clinic or some shit? Like he was an anti-natalist? You remember that dude? Like he died in custody. So apparently, anti-natal, he was anti-life. So yeah, you should have worried about him self-harming, I guess.
NBC4 Investigates has learned a federal judge raised concerns about the well-being of this man accused of being an accomplice in the Palm Springs fertility clinic bombing. This was before Daniel Park took his own life while locked up at the federal jail in downtown L.A. Our investigative reporter Eric Leonard joins us now with an exclusive update on this case. Eric.
Hi, Carolyn. Well, this new information adds to the mystery around what happened to Daniel Park on Tuesday morning.
Seriously, Flash.
Jail officials were taking enough care with him. Park was accused of supplying explosive chemicals.
Daniel Park didn't kill himself.
Feds say he shared an ideology that was based around the idea of self-harm. So far, no clear answers about whether Park was being monitored or how he was able to hurt himself. This transcript from Daniel Park's first appearance in the federal Eastern District of New York on June 4th includes an exchange with a federal magistrate judge who saw evidence of injuries on Park's body and asked whether there was a need for Park to be monitored. No cameras were allowed in federal court. We only have the transcript. The judge: in light of Mr. Park's alleged beliefs here, should the court be concerned about a suicide watch? I understand he's got some injuries that need to be taken care of. Seeing him here, I don't know if they're self-inflicted. Park's court-appointed defense lawyer asked for a moment to speak to his client, then told the judge, I conferred with Mr. Park. We don't have concern of that. It's not clear if information from that exchange made it to officials at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Los Angeles, where Park arrived on June 14th in anticipation of his trial here. A spokesperson for the U.S. Bureau of Prisons declined to comment or answer questions about that exchange in court in New York. Park was arrested on June 4th at JFK Airport in New York after he was deported from Poland. That's where the FBI says he went following the clinic bombing in Palm Springs in May. According to a criminal complaint filed in federal court, agents said they gathered evidence that showed Park purchased or supplied more than 200 pounds of the explosive precursor ammonium nitrate to
He went to Poland?
The 25-year-old who was killed when he detonated a car bomb outside the American Reproductive Center's office in Palm Springs. During the bombing investigation, the FBI says they found records of communications that they say show Park and Bartkus shared a so-called anti-natalist ideology and had worked together to create explosives. The LA County Medical Examiner says Park died of blunt force injuries, but so far local and federal officials have not confirmed any specific details about how Park got those injuries. The FBI and the U.S. Marshal's Office are continuing to investigate Park's death. Live in the newsroom, I'm investigative reporter Eric Leonard, NBC4 News. Back to you.
Well, that's a head scratcher. Sit down, Smokey. I got stuff to do. A woman is this in Ohio? WHIO? Ohio? WHIO? A woman in Ohio is dead after being hit by a man riding a motorcycle wielding a machete.
That's why they needed extra help. New information for you. A judge told a murder suspect he now needs $1 million to get out of jail. Deputies said he had a machete, slashed a woman's leg, and she died. News Center 7's John Bedell live in Preble County. That's where he's been all afternoon. John, you talked with investigators today, and you were the only reporter in court this afternoon when that suspect apologized.
Yeah, I was, James, and I can tell you immediately the judge told him basically,
be quiet, don't talk about your case. And a rep from his defense lawyer's office, I can tell you, had an audible reaction to what he had to say. That all happened right here at the courthouse. The suspect, he's right next door here at the jail as deputies investigate a murder.
Leah Huff lived in Middletown. On Sunday night, deputies told me she was with a man she knew at his friend's house near Camden. Then,
I feel like I know her.
The man's motorcycle for the drive back to his home in Eaton. Sheriff Mike Simpson told us what happened just minutes later.
Suspect ran down the driveway, confronted this motorcycle, and struck the passenger.
The passenger was Huff, and deputies say the suspect, Kenneth Brabant, slashed her with a machete when the motorcycle drove by his home on Upper Somers Road. With Huff bleeding badly, the man drove back to his friend's house where they called 911. Cruiser cam video shows deputies responding.
EMS got on the scene, and then there's nothing they could do.
Deputies investigated.
Oh.
5 minutes before that 911 call, Brabant's daughter made this call to dispatchers.
My ex is running up and down the road on his motorcycle, revving it up, trying to get my dad to come out. My dad is outside.
I asked the sheriff what they found when they investigated that claim about the ex.
I thought the dude was like on a machete, like riding by, like, ah! But no, it was a dude with a machete took out a woman riding on the back of a motorcycle.
Turns out it wasn't. Just happened to be a random motorcycle coming down the road.
Right now, Brabant is the only one facing charges. Court documents say he tried to clean blood off the machete and hid it in the woods behind his home. He faced a judge for the first time Wednesday.
Oh, I'm sick. Sorry. Please do not get into the facts of your case.
The sheriff told me the suspect and the victim did not know each other.
Wow.
Complete stranger. Complete stranger, yeah. They don't know. No.
Well, piece of shit.
To family and a friend of Huff's today, but so far they've been unavailable for comment. Brabant's lawyer, or a rep from his lawyer's office, I should say, told me in court today, no comment. A judge told him if he comes up with the money to get out of jail, he'll be on house arrest with a GPS ankle monitor. We're live in Eaton tonight. I'm John Bedell, News Center 7.
All right, John, thank you.
I think it was the judge, DJ Dub. It could, like, you get a good judge and they will, like, hey, don't say anything. There's a really cool judge I follow on Reels and shit. And, like, he's so cool because, like, I want to say he hates cops. Or at least he fucking loves justice. Byronic, good evening. She was a cutie. That is heartbreaking. Didn't even know the dude. Apparently the woman, who may have very well been abused by an ex, had called the cops and thought her ex was on a motorcycle. Her dad just mistook this other guy for what could have been an abusive ex. Yeah, DJ Dub, like, he probably doesn't hate cops. He just, like, is really into following the law and justice and being honest. And that ends up coming off as he hates the cops. And I love it. He has went out of his way for defendants in his courtroom so many times. And there was one woman that he was clearly trying to help. And she just kept talking. And he's like, hey, I'm trying to help you right now. Don't talk anymore. I'm on your side. It was hilarious, but I love it. He's got a bow tie, and he's big on YouTube. So, like, if you can find him, like, he's like a judge in Texas. So he sees a lot of bullshit. I highly recommend him. Can't remember what his name or channel is, but, like, I fucking love the dude. A man is suing for $5 million because somebody made a typo and he went to jail for something he didn't do.
This said now for the man who says he was held in jail for months because of a mistake over one letter in his last name. Last fall, Fox 13 Investigates told you about Anthony Robertson, who was mistaken for Anthony Roberson, a man sitting in 201 Poplar with several rape charges and a bond over $1 million. Let's go to Fox 13 investigative reporter Kayla Solomon. She's live at 201 Poplar tonight. So Kayla, this lawsuit is worth millions, you've learned.
Yeah, Daryl, and although it was filed months ago, as recently as this week, there have been new filings. Now, the biggest is attorneys for Anthony Robertson are asking the county to turn over documents that have
I think this is Florida
hearings, as well as his time spent in the Shelby County Jail. But in response, Shelby County is saying, since technically that
Memphis. This is in Memphis, Tennessee.
have to order them to turn over the documents. But we now have an amended lawsuit that gives a clearer timeline of exactly how Robertson ended up in custody.
All I could remember saying was, no, sir, y'all got to have the wrong person. That's not me.
That's Anthony Robertson when he met with Fox 13 last year. He was still dealing with the trauma, held in jail at 201 Poplar for 5 months for crimes he did not commit.
It was just like detrimental. Like that was sad. Like every day I got up every day expected to lose my life in there on some charges that had absolutely nothing to do with me.
Since then, a lawsuit was filed against Shelby County and his former public defender. Fox 13 Investigates obtained
and his public defender
lawsuit that gives a clearer timeline.
Now, I feel very sorry for public defenders. Like, they could have absolutely been negligent in this case, but like they are overworked, underpaid, and underfucked.
Of how Robertson was taken into custody. It started in October 2023 when Anthony Roberson was identified as
I meant to fix that, Julie, and make my chat go the other way. I totally meant to fix that.
Suspect for multiple sexual assaults. A warrant was issued for him, and he was taken into custody by October 29th, 2023. Despite remaining in custody, a separate warrant was then issued for Anthony Robertson, who was living in Ohio at the time, in February 2024, 4 months later. He was extradited from Ohio to Shelby County in March, and days later, by March 6th, it says, Robertson began to experience the effects of his diminishing health, as well as stigmas and or fears associated with being charged with aggravated rape and especially aggravated kidnapping, including extortion in exchange for providing for his safety while incarcerated. Robertson remained in custody until July 4th, when his attorney and a judge admitted he was the wrong defendant. The lawsuit says that's also when Roberson was actually provided on the indictment sheet by said ADA, but was inaccurately recorded in the Shelby County Criminal Court clerk's file, which allegedly led to the issue of a warrant and subsequent arrest of plaintiff as the wrong person, and confirmed that plaintiff was released from custody on July 4th, 2024.
Now what you think?
8:30 p.m.
Now, Robertson and his attorneys are asking for $5 million in return. That trial date set for next summer. Daryl?
That is Fox 13's Kayla Solomon live in downtown Memphis. Kayla, thank you.
Wait, it didn't do it. It didn't do it. What in the fuck? Bottom. Maybe it has to restart OBS. That's possible. I thought it would just automatically do it. Silent, good evening. Sorry, I was trying to switch the... You like the backward scrolling chat. I had no idea that apparently my chat goes the opposite of most chats. If it is something that fucks with people and like it would cause somebody, let's say you're autistic, which might be an overrepresented demographic on Twitch, and it bothers you that my chat goes the wrong way, then I would prefer it to be the other way so that it makes it more welcoming to people who may come in to the chat. You see what I'm saying? I just, like, it feels right to me to scroll down. I've never even noticed that it goes the other way in most other people's chats. I am so non-observant that the chat, instead of going from the bottom to the top, goes from the top to the bottom. And apparently most other people's chats, it goes from the bottom to the top. As I understand it. You can call it best of both worlds. Am I more of a top than a bottom? Probably, but I call myself a switch. I'm only more of a top than a bottom because I have, like, IBS.
Life is too short to walk this earth for a crusty asshole. Wash your ass.
Jim Jeffries closed with a whole bit about how his hemorrhoids were so bad he'd never get prison raped. And, like, Curious or not, just like Sparkles would have loved this. She loves ass humor. See, now, Maddie B, you're one of those people that you listen to many different types of... You listen to pirate metal and Renaissance metal. And good night, Lenny, my friend. I was hoping you'd stick around for Glastonbury on music night, but I understand. Good night, my friend. I got kicked out of the broadcasting department, and I had to go take some classes in the digital media department. This is after I already got my broadcasting degree. I stayed an extra year. And they're like, we don't want you here anymore. I already got a degree from the department. We don't want you in here anymore. So I had to go over to the digital media department, and I took some classes in the art department and shit like that. But I made some friends in the digital media department. They came over and they're telling me about all these different subgenres of metal. And my eyes are glazing over and like, pirate metal? Really? Are you fucking nerds? But like, one of them was a really cute girl I was really into, so I tried. I tried to put up with pirate metal, but that's what you're doing with different like types of, like you're subgenring being a sub. Oh, you have me pegged there, so to speak. Ah. Are we done with the real news yet? We're not. God damn it. Something blew up in Milwaukee. Tennis ball bomb blast. Tennis ball bomb blast.
Startling explosion that rattled a South Side neighborhood.
Yeah, so the explosion believed to be from a homemade tennis ball bomb. It happened late Saturday night near 33rd and Pabst Avenue, near Forest Home. 12 News' Nick Bohr joining us there live.
Pabst? Fuck that shit. Pabst Blue Ribbon. And honestly, it's Milwaukee, so it probably is that Pabst.
And Nick, the blast damaged a vehicle and several garages.
Right, you can see some of the damage to this garage here where the car was parked in front of these pockmarked holes, all from bits of tennis ball that were projected during that explosion. They look like this. They're scattered all across the alley, and it was all captured on video.
In a dark alley just before 11 Saturday night, a Honda Pilot comes to a stop. A passenger gets out, appears to place something on a parked car, and drives off.
It was very loud.
As that something detonates.
My husband was in the garage where we have gas tanks, and if it would have been any closer, we could have had a serious issue. I would have lost my husband.
As it is, Brittany Ortiz-Judich came out of the house to find her car heavily damaged.
There were pieces of tennis balls everywhere. They caused damage to our vehicle. This is our family vehicle. They also caused damage to our garage and to the neighbor's garage, and everyone is pretty...
It does seem like a kid just fucking around, doesn't it?
Spent the last 2 days gathering video, one showing the same Honda Pilot on nearby Pabst Avenue just before turning into her alley.
I have no idea who would want to do this. This seems very random. I'm not sure who could possibly have done this.
Milwaukee police responded collecting evidence and in their report referred to the tennis ball bomb as, quote, an illegal firework. The ATF has in the past issued warnings about the homemade devices.
Can be lethal, absolutely.
They classify the tennis ball explosives as, quote, an illegal destructive device. Ortiz-Judich can attest to their destructive capability.
The makeshift bomb was thrown where we believe right here.
It did a hell of a damage.
Impact had totally completely bent this, and for somehow it got underneath the hood.
Just really extensive damage there, Nick. Do police have any idea who did this?
Well, not yet, but we know there were at least 2 people in that vehicle, the driver and the passenger who hopped out right here and put
oh my God, Simpson,
on the car that was parked right here. Of course, there's always a lot of reports about illegal fireworks this time of year leading up to the 4th of July. This clearly, though, was something more dangerous, something very different than your common firework, and police are certainly asking for the public's help in trying to identify who did this.
2 big questions: who and why would someone do this? Nick Bohr.
Pretty much any man and just for fun. The lulz, that's what it is.
What kind of beer do you like? Heineken? Fuck that shit! Pabst Blue Ribbon! What kind of beer do you like? Heineken? Fuck that shit! Pabst Blue Ribbon!
Probably the smartest of the neighborhood shithead kids. Yeah, it doesn't take much to make a bomb anymore. You got the internet. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? We have another train derailment. Train derailments are so 2022, 2023. Feel like they had gone out of vogue. But back in style.
Right now, hazmat crews are on the scene of a massive freight train derailment northwest of Milwaukee. 3 engines and 19 cars over.
A lot of shit going on in Milwaukee, apparently.
Went to a hospital with minor injuries. Several thousand gallons of diesel fuel spilled onto the ground. A nitrous oxide tank also cracked but has not leaked. Police say it could take days to move the trains off the tracks.
As long as we're talking about crashes, let's talk about this crash that very much stopped traffic earlier today. Where is this Maryland Department of Transportation? This is the Maryland Department of Transportation we're watching here. They were transporting a windmill, apparently. Unfortunately, the video apparently starts. They've already... Did they jackknife it or something? Because, like, there's another car back there, right? Like, there's something on wheels that it's on. Like, did it go over the railing? Did the other vehicle lose control or something? Because, like, this is a truck. Flash, yeah, I need you. Like, this is a truck right here, right? Like, this is what we're seeing. Like, that's the grill of a truck that had some sort of thing, and it was riding behind the turbine. How did it get over on the other side? Did it go through the median? You think it's like a remote control dolly? I feel like that's another truck. This is huge. Fucking huge. I feel like that's another truck that was probably driving behind them. So you'd have to kind of keep it's a big dolly, you think? Let's see if we can get, like, this was this morning. Let's see if we can get a news story on this. Here's the reporting on it from, like, this afternoon. Oh, no, it's just the video. Oh, hell yeah, Julie. If you guys didn't get my Pride playlist, it's fucking awesome. You want... Have we done, like, every form of transportation? We did trains. We did trucks. Now let's do boats. Smokey, go somewhere. Damn it, cat. A man jumps overboard to save his child during a Disney cruise.
A dad turned superhero in this next story. I suspect a lot of parents watching would...
I thought she was going to say a dad turned Super Saiyan. That's something I'd really like to see on video. I'd love to see a dad go Super Saiyan.
Exact same. His child fell overboard on a Disney cruise ship over the weekend. Video from passengers shows a small rescue boat pulling the man and his young daughter out of the water, as you see right here. It happened yesterday as the Disney Dream was returning from a 4-night trip between the Bahamas.
The Disney Dream.
The two had to tread water for about 10 minutes.
That sounds horrible.
The ship was moving quickly, so quickly. It's crazy how quickly the people became little tiny dots in the sea, and then you lost sight of them.
In a statement, Disney said, "We commend our crew members for their exceptional skills and prompt actions, which ensured the safe return of both guests to the ship within minutes."
I always love it when people ask me, like, when was the time socialism worked? And I'm like, the 50s and 60s in this country. when we saw the greatest gains in middle class and GDP growth. And, like, the response is, I don't know if you're aware, but we're quite removed in just about every meaningful way from the 50s and 60s. So much so that you have a small contingent of ignorant people on the internet who think resorting to a far greater form of corruptible government is the ticket. That doesn't make any sense. I swear to God, right? Like, and it's always libertarians. I've been arguing with libertarians who very much suck the boot. It is weird. Yes, Crix is you knew it. Jinx, you owe me a Coke. Yeah, DJ Dub, I looked into it too. And apparently it is hellish. Exactly, Avalon. Like, moving away from those policies are the reason we're in the shape we're in. You understand that. That's why we don't have a manufacturing base, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Grimlow, but that's how he raised a shit ton of money for Trevor Project. So I liked and shared that out because fucking good on him. I also don't have any problem with him either. I think he's just so fucking cute. It makes me upset. Like, you're such a good-looking man. Fuck you. If that makes sense, really. Like, right? Really? Because even the fuck... Like, he had a video he shared out with him raising money and, like, looked fucking sexy. He's like, God damn it. Stop it. Oh, Grimlow. A much, much bigger streamer than me. Yeah, it was a crop top. Stupid, sexy Flanders. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Feels like I'm wearing nothing at all. Oh, goddamn. Anyway, 2 teens were shot when they attended the New York City Pride March.
We're learning this morning police continue to look for the person who shot 2 teens in the West Village. It happened near the Stonewall Inn right as the March celebration was coming to an end. We want to check in now with Fox 5 New York's Robert Moses. He joins us live this morning in the West Village with the latest.
Well, there is no easy transition to this, Flash.
Gina, good morning to you. Yes, gunfire punctuated what should have been a joyous night just steps away from the Stonewall Inn, which, of course, is the birthplace of the modern gay rights movement. And this morning you can still see some evidence markers sitting on the street as well as the sidewalk outside of this supermarket. Mayor Eric Adams called the shooting last night devastating. The shots rang out at about 10:15 in Sheridan Square, with crowds still milling around following the day's Pride festivities. Police say a 16-year-old girl was shot in the head and is in critical condition at Bellevue Hospital. Another teenage girl who is 17 was shot in the left leg, taken to Northwell Greenwich Village Hospital. She is stable. Authorities recovered a gun at the scene. Police are still trying to determine a motive. We don't know if this was an argument or a robbery or perhaps something else was at work here. We spoke to a woman named Vivian who says that she was taking her grandparents to the grocery store.
It's possible it was a hate crime, but it could have been like another gay person that was armed. This is America.
Or when this happened.
As a New Yorker, unfortunately, you feel kind of numb to these shootings because they happen all the time. And that's a terrible thing to happen. I feel very sorry for the ones that had to go through this.
The mayor posted on X that the NYPD will work quickly and tirelessly to bring the suspects to justice. According to the most recent crime statistics available, this precinct, the 6th precinct where this happened, has been fairly safe. There had been no shootings reported in this precinct this year as of June 20th.
New York City is relatively safe. Given its population, it's incredibly safe.
And on a very high-profile day, no doubt the NYPD will be dedicating many resources to solving this crime. We're live in the West Village this morning. Gina, back to you.
All right, Fox 5 New York's Robert Moses, thank you so much for joining us bright and early.
Well, Bob Moses over here. You want some cathartic? I mean, we'll wait and see. I reserve judgment. I'll give you some catharticism to get out of here. Somebody got shot at the Gay Pride Parade, but let me tell you what was a big dud was the Hetero Awesome Fest. Happened, what, in Idaho last week?
It began as one man's answer to Pride festivals. It ended up being about, well, several dozen people's answer to Pride festivals. That's about how many showed up to Cecil D. Andrus Park last Friday and Saturday in Boise for the first ever Hetero Awesomeness Festival. Dozens. Needless to say, the turnout was not so awesome. Although the organizer, the Mark Eagle, says that number was much higher than that. Well, having the anti-LGBTQ plus event fall flat may have been enough to get people's attention. What seemed to get a lot more attention was what was said in a podcast promoting the event. So we wanted to hear from Fitzpatrick why he believes this festival was a success.
Fitzpatrick,
with the comments
there's dozens of us.
Appearance.
Dozens. What is that?
Overall impression of the week.
Never nudes.
Success. We did what we said we were going to do, which is provide a free event for people to come and celebrate traditional family values, gather together with kids. We had the kids zone set up. We had a stage set up with great music. We had some things to contend with for sure. One of which was some chilly and rainy weather on Friday that I think kept quite a few people away. And then some chilly weather on Saturday.
Fitzpatrick.
And then we also had the onslaught of nonstop attacks from the morally bankrupt, degenerate Pride community on anybody that mentioned that they were going to get involved with our event in the months leading up to it, which caused a lot of sponsors and people to say they weren't going to be involved or attend.
Could it be that people just didn't want to be a part of it?
No, a lot of people wanted to be a part of it.
But they weren't.
No, we had 7.
Oh, God.
Community on anybody that mentioned that they were going to get involved with our event in the months leading up to it, which caused a lot of sponsors and people to say they weren't going to be involved or attend.
Could it be that people just didn't want to be a part of it?
No, a lot of people wanted to be a part of it.
But they weren't.
No, we had 700 people show up to the event. 700 to 1,000 over the weekend.
No, you didn't.
That's a success, though. For $85,000 that you spent.
Take a seat, please. Take a seat. We've got come on in, man. Mark, the founder of the Old State Saloon, joining us.
That's the amount Fitzpatrick told the podcast Backlash he spent on the 2-day event.
One thing I learned is these are expensive. Because even just like the police officers are $11,500 plus security. We have security that's $7,000. Anyways, it all comes up.
That's some sort of crypto hat.
$1,000, and I told them we've only raised about $20,000 to $25,000.
This is not about money. If it was about money, I would have charged more than $5 for a beer. This is about doing what we said we were going to do and celebrate traditional family values during this month when a lot of the country feels like they're expected.
Don't go woke, go broke.
Moral depravity of what Pride tries to do at their events.
Last time we talked to you about this a year ago, you said this wasn't about hate. But yet you had somebody there on site premises, and you spoke on the podcast, somebody who very much promotes hate. How do you respond to that?
How did he promote hate?
I don't know what people.
Well, on that same podcast, host David Riley said this about Boise.
It's a really nice place. It's
For
beautiful.
an American city,
It's top-notch
it is.
American city.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There are still very good bars around, great food. There's the Basque District. Again, it's clean. There aren't any black people here.
And tons of Mormons, which
There's
is
a lot of Mormons.
chef's kiss in a city.
Yeah, you heard that. Boise is a clean city because
there aren't any black people here.
Okay.
And that's okay with you.
This I would not have said it. It's not what I would do. He's his own person. So whatever you want to know what he meant by it, if it was meant to be derogatory or a joke or whatever, he has his own show with his own style, and that was all it was. He was not sitting in front of any crowd of people. Nobody heard what he was saying at the event.
Are you okay with it?
Okay with what?
With him saying that.
Okay. If I'm going to be not okay with things or apologize for things, I would have to apologize far more for all the wicked Pride people who came into our event and did wicked things.
We don't have that on video, though.
So it doesn't mean it didn't happen. This stuff on video. I have a man who pretended to be, or maybe he is, I don't know, dishonorably putting on an army uniform, lying and deceiving to get on stage to say that he's going to do one thing.
What's in your underpants? Elephants taking pride in tranny suicide.
And do an entirely different thing to promote transsexualism.
At church they condemned him and called him a she.
That's absolutely disgusting, wicked behavior. And you're focusing on some guy who whispered a comment into a mic, and you're saying that has something to do with me?
You invited him there.
That's totally
Did you not?
I invited everybody there.
But you know who he is? His whole persona is hate, anti-Semitism, and white nationalism.
Oh, this dude.
Talk to him about it.
I've tried, but I'm saying you know, lie down with dogs, that proverb, right? You are who you hang out with.
No, you're not.
Okay, so
what?
I'm not him, he's not me. You know me, people know me who get to know me. I'm not racist, okay?
Okay.
All races are equal if Christ is your king.
So you denounce
I would never say what he said. I don't know what his intent was. I don't know if he has.
You don't believe what he said, though.
Here's the thing. People have free speech, okay? And if they're gonna make jokes or whatever, it could be derogatory. See, this is the thing is, like, I don't believe people should be derogatory with the intent to hurt somebody's feelings with what they say.
Is that close? Fitzpatrick kept saying he wouldn't have said what Dave Riley said, but I gave him many opportunities to denounce it, yet he wouldn't outright condemn it.
Alien.
He did say it was less a race thing and more a liberal thing. This is Fitzpatrick.
What?
When it comes to cities being clean or not. Just for some perspective, if it was the weather keeping people away from the festival, on Friday, it was in the mid-60s. Boise got 1/1000th of an inch of rain, barely enough to register. Saturday, it was 67, and yeah, a little bit breezy. Many summer festivals would pay for those kind of conditions. Fitzpatrick told us today this weekend was a great start, and he learned a lot from it that he hopes to put into planning next year's festival. Yeah, he's planning another one. We did reach out to David Riley also, who, in case you didn't know, was at the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Of course he was.
And it was Riley who apparently suggested they carry torches during that thing. And over the years, he has deleted a lot of anti-Semitic posts from social media. Riley told us today he stands by what he said, calling it a joke, but also, quote, "Diversity is a weakness, not a strength. The LGBTQIA plus movement is satanic. Straight white people are welcome and wanted in Idaho," end quote. And here's the thing. We debated a bunch about whether we even cover this story at all today or how we would even do it. Should we give it the attention? Because after all, this is what they want. And we get it. That's what we're doing. We're giving them attention. But in the end, it became about what I once learned from Dr. Charlene Taylor, who, when she was called the N-word in Boise's North End a few years ago, and nobody who heard somebody say that said anything about it to her, well, saying nothing is saying something. And saying Boise is a nice, clean American city because there are no black people here, it's wrong, first of all. But more importantly, it's racist and should not be tolerated. See, it wasn't that difficult.
I would probably guess that this is an independently owned station. That, like, Sinclair doesn't own that. It's probably one of the last few independently owned stations in the country. Rhinos are unicorns. Welcome in. Are you rhinos from YouTube, or is that just a coincidence? Owned by Tinga, actually, or Tegna Inc., which is one of the smaller conglomerates of TV stations. KTVB 7 in Boise. I said it wrong. I knew it wasn't Sinclair. That was for fucking sure. Earlier today, our State Department revoked the visas of a band. I don't even know. Did they have visas? I guess they did in order to be able to be revoked. A band, they probably came to the U.S. to tour. Their name is Bob Villain. This is Tammy Bruce at the State Department briefing earlier today.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, I do. I do want to ask about Syria, but first, I just want to get very, very briefly.
Thank you for the sub, Rhinos.
How do you decide? Well, my question is going to be very, very.
Oh, all right. Yes.
How do you decide when it's okay to speak about revoking someone's visa? Because for years and years and years, decades, in fact, in covering this building, It's always, the mantra has been, Visa records are confidential.
It is Live Music Monday.
Where an entertainer and
Best of Glastonbury coming right at you here in just a couple minutes.
Very publicly by the Deputy Secretary of State in a tweet, retweeted by Secretary Rubio and confirmed by other officials. So what's the deal with this law? Does it not really apply unless you want it to? Unless you don't want to talk about it?
Well, yeah, I can't speak to the decisions at the times of when to discuss something of this sort. What we do know is a very public dynamic with individuals. We have a very public policy and procedure and process now that we're discussing regarding national security and how we are handling the visa process. In this particular case, of course, what you're referring to is the tweet from our Deputy Secretary of State, Christopher Landau, that the State Department has revoked the U.S. visas for the members of the Bob Villain band in light of their hateful tirade at Glastonbury.
Bob Villain!
The crowd in death chants. Foreigners who glorify violence and hatred are not welcome visitors to our...
Now, in death, you say death chants, but now be specific.
...country. Now, we've stated that when it comes to how we vet people, if they are going to be coming here to be helpful, to be nice people, to be great tourists, or if they're coming for other reasons, that every sovereign nation has a right to...
If you come to spend money, you're okay.
This country. So we've been public about that standard. And this was a very public event that violated, as you've seen from the Deputy Secretary's tweet, that very basic standard about the nature of who we want to let into the country. That's all right.
Once again, right-wingers do not believe in free speech.
Taking care about who comes here. And I think his tweet and the Secretary's language and his approach on the policy speaks for itself.
Okay, so it's basically, if it's a public kind of facing thing, then you're
I didn't
okay
say that. I
with-
said in this case that's what has occurred. And I think that it's the policy certainly is clear for individuals, but when we're thinking about the nature of the policy itself that has been publicly discussed, they chose to do so this time.
Now, you may be wondering what the fuck she was talking about. Played pretty coy with it. Festival organizers appalled by Bob Villain's chants. That's what they're saying now.
The BBC had decided not to live stream the Northern Irish band Kneecap, but no such preemptive action against the punk duo who preceded them on Glastonbury's Westholt stage.
Free, free! Free, free!
Bob Villain went on to lead the crowd, or parts of it, in a chant of death, death to the IDF, Israel's army.
Well, I thought it was appalling, to be honest, and I think the BBC and Glastonbury have got questions to answer about.
I think the IDF is appalling.
It's cool. On our screens, I'd also say to the Israeli embassy, get your own house in order in terms of the conduct of your own citizens and the settlers in the West Bank.
The BBC said it would not be making the set available on demand, calling some of the comments made during it deeply offensive, adding that a warning was issued on screen about the very strong and discriminatory language. Glastonbury organiser Emily Evis posted on Instagram saying, "We are appalled by the statements made from the Westholt stage by Bob Villain yesterday. Their chants very much crossed a line, and we are urgently reminding everyone involved in the production of the festival that there is no place at Glastonbury for anti-Semitism, hate speech or incitement."
I didn't hear any anti-Semitism.
Response to the controversy has been limited to this Instagram post.
The scenes yesterday will have triggered a response in a great many.
Did you guys hear any anti-Semitism?
Thousands of people who claim to be humanitarians, young people chanting for death.
Do you think they were chanting for the deaths of individual soldiers or in opposition to what they see as the instrument of war crimes in Gaza?
There is no excuse for anti-Semitism, whatever is happening else.
There is no excuse for anti-Semitism. Thank God they didn't do it, right? They were against the IDF. Completely different thing.
Extremism and anti-Semitism is caused by extremists and anti-Semites.
Anti-Semites?
Has now been made available on the BBC's iPlayer in edited form, though still containing chants against Sir Keir Starmer and allegations of Israeli war crimes.
I mean, you fascists want to censor everything?
He was charged in May with a terror offence for allegedly displaying a Hezbollah flag, which he denies.
They're speaking out, and I think that that's important and good for them.
It was epic. It was brilliant. Speaking up for the Palestinians is the most important thing that NECAP have done.
Music brings us together. We need music.
This afternoon, it was over to Rod Stewart, the octogenarian rocker mocked by NECAP for being older than the State of Israel.
He is!
Sunshine, this was an opportunity for nostalgia to prevail over politics.
Well, Lord Mann is the government's independent advisor on anti-Semitism, and he joins me now.
The motherfucker is older than the State of Israel.
Cites the
objectively, welcome in.
Do you think Bob Vylan and NECAP are part of a kind of long tradition of musicians being provocative, or is it something much more concerning than that?
Yeah, well, it's somebody who just wants to get a few headlines for himself by being
Oh, fuck off.
But no, this isn't a tradition of music on music festivals. And there's always been plenty of politics on the fringes of Glastonbury, occasionally on the stages. But this is something quite different. You know, these festivals are meant to be about peace and love and people coming together and everyone feeling able to go. And you have someone getting up and shouting for people to be killed.
Oh my God.
Right, so do you think a criminal offence may have been committed then?
A criminal offence?
But I think it may well find he's got more problems with this rant he went in about somebody he'd worked with who was clearly Jewish because he abused him for being so as part of his narrative. I mean, what's that all about? To suddenly some personal dispute he's got with someone to be ranting in front of
wow.
It was wholly unprofessional. It was pathetic, to be honest, and it's not what festivals should be about. And imagine if you're a young Jewish person, and there were some there, and I've spoken to some in the middle of all of this. How does it make you feel?
He is actually older than Israel.
Well, what do you make of the BBC's conduct? Because, you know, they've issued a warning on screen.
I think so, Prometheus.
It won't be available on iPlayer. They already decided not to live stream NECAP over concerns about past comments from that group. Did they do all they could, or are you concerned, as the BBC's critics allege, that there's a problem there, a bias against Israel?
Well, I think they've managed to get themselves snookered. I think they need to look. They've got enough staff at Glastonbury.
Snookered?
They ought to have been able to see this problem coming. But I don't think they've done this willfully. They've allowed themselves to be outmanoeuvred and snookered to create this platform. And I know my criticism is of the organisers of Glastonbury, who put these people on, sorted out when they were going on, put them on the same stage pretty much at the same time as kind of the warm-up act. Now, that's deliberate, that's calculated.
Well,
and the impact on Jewish people at the festival, some of them have told me, is very negative.
Glastonbury have said that they were appalled by the statements made by Bob Vylan and their chants crossed a line. And they're reminding everyone involved in the festival that there's no place at Glastonbury for anti-Semitism. And, you know, the BBC has also said that some of the comments made were deeply offensive.
There was no anti-Semitism. What's offensive if you guys continuing to call it anti-Semitism?
Feeling that the country isn't safe for them and that
Jones, welcome.
Has a problem with Jewish people.
I think there's a lot of young Jewish, I'm particularly concerned what young Jewish people feel. Why shouldn't they be able to go to a festival like Glastonbury if they can afford it and enjoy it?
Why shouldn't Jewish people be allowed to go to a festival? I'm not gonna do that one. I'm not gonna do the joke.
Picked on. That's what should happen for everybody in our country. Why should young Jewish people, the Jewish community, be any different? And if there was going to be anything different...
Fuck, if they can make pager jokes, I should be able to make parachute jokes.
Young people were murdered, some taken as hostage and then murdered, some eventually released as hostages.
But a lot of young people...
Going to a music festival. But that never featured. That hasn't featured at Glastonbury.
But a lot of young people... Equally,
They would be a lot more comfortable at a music festival next to a concentration camp. That's why.
Are really concerned about what they see unfolding in Gaza and the fact that, as they see it, the Labour government has been quite slow to call that out, belatedly doing so. What do you say to that?
But young people are entitled to have whatever views they have. And, I'm not objecting. I don't think anyone reasonable is objecting to there being politics on the sidelines, whoever it is at Glastonbury, or for musicians to occasionally say something. This crossed the line in a big way. And the point of the Nova Festival, their slogan is, "We will dance again." Well,
Right.
Why is that banner not up at Glastonbury? Isn't
Lord
that what
Mann.
Glastonbury's about?
Lord Mann, thank you very much for joining us.
Always loves when a dumb fuck tries to run his mouth on me and then blocks me. It happens so often. That's the controversy coming out of Glastonbury. We're getting ready to watch the best of Glastonbury minutes from now on Live Music Monday. Here's some ducks and some hydrangeas. So we're going to say goodbye to the podcast, YouTube people. Rumble, Kick, all you peeps. Saying goodbye to you. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol. Live. Twitch people, stay with me. We